Хөрхөн охид trap сонсон. Trap сонсон, trap донсон. Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан. Дагаж дуулан дур булаа мууруулаа.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. We got two this week. One with the Greg Wilson and Andre Harrison, and now a new one. And we have the UFC president, Dana White, calling in. How cool is that? This is going to be one of my all-time favorite podcasts, I know, unless he gets mad and tells me to go fuck myself. But either way, I'm excited. Dana's a friend of mine. He's been nothing but really, really cool to me. He's been a good friend, a great friend actually, and he helped me, get started at MMA Roasted. So I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Dude, I had no idea how jacked Dana White was. You see that picture of him at the beach with his shirt off? I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah. That was a Photoshop photo.
Was it really?
It was on his Instagram account, though.
I don't know, because I saw a bunch of them, and they look like they were Photoshopped.
How can you tell? How can you tell that they're Photoshopped there?
Because it just didn't look the way he looked, and then there was a bunch of, the same images.
Were you upset after you finished
when you were done
looking at it? And
Was I upset?
Yeah. Okay, listen. So I'm saying you finished on it is what I'm trying to. Okay, listen. Thanks, CB. It's going to be a great podcast today. We also have the UFC champion Colby Covington calling in.
The real champ.
Is he the real champ, or is Tyron Woodley the real champ?
I thought if you don't defend a title for over a year, some shit better have changed. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people feel that way, and I think that that's a good thing, because if let's say the Lakers or who won this year, Golden State doesn't defend next year and they're out of the season, whoever wins is the new champion, right? At the same time, if you don't lose your title because you're hurt. It's not like Conor McGregor where he's throwing dollies at buses and getting in all kinds of trouble with the law. I mean, he's legitimately getting surgery. So if you're getting surgery, I don't think you should lose your, unless it's 6 years, like a Cain Velasquez type situation where it's 7 years of surgery. So we'll talk to Colby about that.
All right.
First, I want to thank our sponsors, Speedweed. Listen, people, marijuana is legal in California. It's legal. Some people argue it's healthy. I know it's relaxing. I know once in a while I like to smoke because it just calms my nerves. And I definitely use the CBD oil and lotion and spray, and they got all of it over at speedweed.com. You can get it delivered right to you, right to your house. You don't even have to leave. They will give it right to you. They'll bring it to you. You order a pizza, you order Chinese food, you order all kinds of stuff. Why not order marijuana? Because here's what happens. You go to the dispensary and you start smoking a little bit and blah, blah, blah. You get in your car. Now you got a DUI. It's $20,000. You lose your job. You got a criminal record. Who knows? Your wife leaves you. Your boyfriend leaves you. Bad things can happen. However, you stay in the house. None of that's going to happen. You just stay in, you smoke, you put on Adult Swim, Greg and Morty, whatever the kids are watching now, okay? And that's it. So go to speedweed.com. You get $10 off, orders $100 or more. Also, listen, sexual performance issues. It's worse than you think, people, okay? I know CB struggles all the time with that. Listen, over 25% of new ED cases are guys under the age of 40. I'm 40. That's alarming. 40% of men by age 40 struggle from not being able to get and maintain an erection. That's the worst. You finally get a chick home. She's down. Then all of a sudden your dick goes limp. Horrible things, okay? She's going to start judging you. What's wrong with you? Is it me? She's going to feel insecure. Now you got a whole you did all this work to get laid. Boom, it's gone because of your dick. So why do guys turn to real solutions or do nothing when they can turn to medical and medicine and science? Go to forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. They connect you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat ED. Well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you combat ED. Get rid of ED, okay? No reason why your dick shouldn't work, all right? There's no waiting room, no awkward visits, no lines. Save hours by going to forhims.com. It's good. It's hard, made easy. Say hello to your little friend. It's erectile without the dysfunction. Go to 4Hims today, and you can try 4Hims for a month for just $5. We'll get you started for just $5 while supplies last. See the website for full details. Go to forhims.com/MMA Roasted. That's forhims.com/MMA Roasted. forhims.com/MMA Roasted. Now, also, my buddy Chris Jonesy's here. Jonesy, really good friend of mine, really funny comedian from Boston. Also a great actor. You were in Gotham, right?
Yep.
What did you play in Gotham?
I played a character named Carl Smikers in the first season.
And what was your character?
I stole weather balloons in one episode. I think it was episode 4 or 3. Yeah, I stole a bunch of weather balloons. They tracked me down. They brought me in the station, kicked the shit out of me, and that kind of thing.
Nice.
It's pretty nice little role.
You're also a really good dude, funny as hell.
Thank you,
great
sir.
actor. And I don't know how much of a fight fan you are, but it seems like when I play the podcast in the car, that's what I do. I invite my friends to go on trips, and I play my own podcast.
You're like, gotcha, bitch.
But you seem to enjoy the podcast.
I did. And then when we got down to San Diego, because we were doing shows that weekend, we watched all day.
The fights.
The fights, and I never really did that before, and I had a blast, man. That was so much fun. I want to do that again. We got to do that again.
Well, even better, I'll take you to a fight.
Yeah, take me to a fight. I would love to go to a fight. That's fantastic.
100%. So yesterday, me and Greg Wilson did a podcast. It should be up later tonight. And some of the sound got screwed up. One of the Colby interviews, so we have to redo it. Yada, yada, yada. We're doing it today. But Joe was supposed to. First of all, Vince doesn't show up. He's like, "Sorry, man, I'm not there." He texts me an hour into the show, going, "Dude, I lost track of time." I'm like, "It's okay. You didn't show up to your fight either." I'm just kidding. He fought a really good guy. But Joe, 10 minutes for the show, you go, "Hey, dog, I can't make the podcast. My girl is in the hospital."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, hope she's okay." You go, "It's brain surgery, no big deal." Okay,
Yeah.
which I don't think those no big deals ever followed brain surgery in the history of the English language. Well, what happened?
Well, my girlfriend has epilepsy, so she's having like a big major brain surgery to ultimately fix it for good. And so she's gonna be in there for a couple weeks, and I had to go, say what's up. Her family was there, so we couldn't really do nothing nasty.
Okay. But did you try?
She's in the fucking hospital.
Hey,
what are you thinking about?
I once slept with a girl in the hospital.
Really? Tell me that story.
I
dude.
did. It was this girl who.
Did she know you?
No, she was in a coma. She was like,
She asked the nurse, she was out. It was
I went,
cool.
this is years ago. It was maybe 10 years ago. I just got back from a tour in Iowa. I was like horny as hell, and then she called me, and we were just like seeing each other, and then I go in there, and I just locked the door, and she was like lying down. I just put her legs in the air, and then, but I think we were on camera because I think she got like. After that, they gave her like 3 roommates, so that couldn't happen anymore in the hospital. But hospital sex is kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, those beds are they're flexible and shit. You can move them around. Yeah.
Have you ever had hospital sex?
I never had hospital sex.
Where's the craziest place you ever had sex?
In a library,
Oh wow.
in an aisle of a library, holding on to bookshelves.
This is like a
standing
porno?
up. Yeah, it was crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Were people like shh? Or no?
There was nobody up there. It was a college library, late at night, top floor.
Ah.
You know how they get really empty.
Remember when libraries weren't just for homeless people? Like now you go to a library,
right.
it's
That's
just
right.
it's literally like 100 homeless people just hanging out
It's
there.
crazy.
No reading books, I guess. I mean, it's crazy. You go there, you're like, it's sad.
I go to the library in my neighborhood quite a bit. I live in downtown LA, and every time I go in there, there's 2 cops that are in that library full time. Their only job is to just tap homeless people on the head when they're sleeping on the tables. That's their only job. It's just to make sure homeless people aren't sleeping in the place. The place is filled with homeless people. Cops are there to make sure they're not sleeping.
They have to be up.
Yeah, they have to be awake.
That is-
you should be awake if
that
you're
is so
gonna be in
dumb.
there. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
I once had a,
wake up and get out.
Yeah, how about get out? You're not doing.
well, no, they could stay there. But, I mean, why not? It's better than being on. I mean, out in the cold.
There is
or,
air conditioning,
you know,
so it's in
yeah,
the
or out in the
summertime.
hot.
Yeah.
I remember one time I had a job where my job was like when I first moved to LA to go. I would travel with this guy who was in a truck, and I go and try to convince like these stores, these like basically these gas stations to like pick up some kind of new cola, and then like I was working for like the cola.
A new cola.
Yeah, it was like
what was
some-
it called?
I think it was called like it was hers forher.com. It was an energy drink for women, right? And it actually tasted
What?
really good. Yeah. So, but I go in there, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to get it for hers?" And they'd be like, "No," or usually no. And then I go back in the truck, and that guy had to stock. Then like an hour of stocking, whatever. So I fell asleep because I'm like, "What's the matter? If I'm in a truck, if I'm awake?" The guy took a picture of me and sent it to my boss. Like, and then I was like trying to get more work, and they're like, "Oh, actually, we have a picture of you sleeping on the job." I'm like, "What a dick that he did that." Number one, and I go, "Well, what difference does it make if I'm asleep or not? I'm in the truck, so if my eyes are open, it's better than if my eyes are closed." I tried to defend my case, and the guy's like, "You seem very smart. Like you should be a lawyer or something." He still fired me. Anyway, who watched the Contender Series last night? Dana White. Okay, first of all, the guy that we had in the podcast won in 9 seconds.
Alonzo Menafield?
Yeah, we had him on the show, remember?
8-second knockout, dude.
Yeah, Alonzo Menafield. We had him. Remember him? He was a nice guy. He was a football player, and he was like in like 47 custody of the state type things, and he was like had a really, really tough childhood and played college football, and someone took him under his wing, and yeah, I'm really happy for that guy. And we had him first, by the way. Okay, so all you guys, I was like, this guy. I remember watching him on LFA, going, this guy's special. And then Greg Hardy won. Big controversy about Greg Hardy. He used to be in the NFL. He was on the Cowboys. He got kicked out for domestic abuse.
Oh, he's fighting now?
He's fighting, and he's
debut last night.
Oh, yeah?
and he won.
He was a nasty dude.
knockout.
Really?
Yeah, and then people were like tweeting me, trying to get me to retweet. Like, it's almost like he never left the kitchen or something, you know? And I was like, no, I'm not going to make that joke. Look, I mean, the UFC's giving the guy a second chance. That's one way to look at it. On the other hand, it's like, does he deserve a second chance? I can see both sides. I could see this is America, the opportunity to redeem yourself when you fuck up, when you make mistakes. I also see, look, Sean Penn, didn't he beat up Madonna? I mean, a lot of guys out there did horrible things, and they seem to redeem themselves. At the same time, should we let this slide?
The UFC's fired people for domestic violence before that they were on the roster.
But they were in the UFC.
Yeah, they were already in the UFC, but they fired them due to domestic violence. And it's just, I don't know. It's a tough situation. There's no definitive answer of what should or should not.
All I know is I'm not rooting for the guy. Okay, and I'm rooting for whoever fights him.
I like that they put him up against another former NFL guy, but fuck, when Greg Hardy landed that punch to knock him out, I was like,
yeah, but Greg Hardy's gonna have a tough time once he gets to the upper echelon.
Chase Sherman already called him out.
Yeah, he might knock out Chase Sherman though.
I want him next.
The problem is that he might beat Chase Sherman is not the brightest fighter. I like Chase Sherman, but he's a rock'em sock'em robot guy, chin up in the air, straightforward. It's gonna be interesting to watch that guy. A lot of guys are gonna want to beat him. I know who called him out is the Black Beast.
Oh, Derek Lewis, yeah.
That's going to be a murder. If the Black Beast goes up against Greg Hardy's, I think that Greg Hardy's getting fucked up.
He's like the biggest anti-domestic violence guy, so he's been calling out all the ones that have.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm not a fan of Greg Hardy. But
had amateur fights.
Yeah, he's had a couple amateur fights. He trains over an American Top Team. He's a freak athlete. These guys, even Menafield. He was a college football player. When you get these heavyweight college football players in the MMA who know how to tackle and are already at that next level of athleticism, it's a different sport for these guys.
Well, it's like they come in not from a wrestling background, but playing in the NFL, you're getting tossed around and pushed and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So your takedown defense or keeping people away from you is probably very strong.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, did you watch it? You watched the whole thing?
I watched the highlights.
Did you see, because a lot of people are in uproar right now that Chris Curtis didn't get the contract as well. The guy, I think he landed like a Sweet Chin Music style sidekick and was just, a lot of people were upset. And then he went on Twitter and was like,
he's retiring, right?
Yeah, I'm 41 or something. There's not really a lot of room for me to go anymore.
At the same time, look, that happened a lot of times in the first not Dana White series. A lot of guys I thought deserved to be in it and didn't get in it. So, and to retire because you didn't get the shot, I think is not the answer.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys. The guy that we talked to yesterday, Andre Harrison, is 17-0. And is not in the UFC. And he's beaten 6 guys that were in the UFC. And, and the thing is, as a comic, I'm in it for the long game. I've been doing this 21 fucking years. Part of me is like, when's my Netflix special? That's like me saying, hey, guys, I didn't get a Netflix special, so I'm done. People are like, all right, later. There's a lot of guys out there that'll be like, all right, cool. Can I do the gigs that you're not going to do next week? This is the nature of the game. Anytime you have a job that you like doing that's really fun, it's going to suck and on a lot of other ways. The business usually sucks of fun jobs.
And you can't ultimatum yourself into, a contract or a title shot. Like Condit tried to ultimatum himself, and he said, UFC, if you don't give me the rematch with Robbie for the belt, I'm not fighting anymore. And they went back and forth for a while, and then he ended up fighting again.
Right.
But it's not the way to, progress in the right direction.
Let's talk about some of the fights over the weekend. I know you didn't see him, Joe. You probably didn't see him. You definitely saw him. I was so impressed by Robert Whitaker. This dude, he fought this guy, Yoel Romero. I'll break it down to you, Jonesy. So, hold on one sec. You press pause? John. Yeah, so last week, this guy, Yoel Romero, who is this Olympian wrestler, he looks like he was made in a lab, right? But he keeps missing weight. But he missed weight by 0.2 pounds, which is like and when you miss weight, you got to give 25% of your money or 20% to the other guy.
30, depending.
And then he was going to fight for the belt, and now he didn't get the belt. Now, during the fight, he looked so tired, he couldn't throw a punch. But every time he threw a punch or a kick, he would knock the guy down. And he threw like 4 punches a round, but basically he lost the first 2 rounds by inactivity. Third round, he had Whitaker hurt. It was easily a 10-8. I thought in the 4th round, I gave it to Whitaker, and then in the 5th round, I gave it back to Romero, maybe even a 10-8 again. So the fight should have been a draw, in which case it still goes to 8. But it was a great fight. But he had this guy on Queer Street. I mean, he didn't know where he was. And by the way, I said that one time at a party, and there was a gay guy there. He goes, "What street?" I go, Queer Street. He goes, "Why is it called Queer Street?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't think
make it up.
I don't think it's about gay. I don't think it has anything to do with gay people.
Yeah, but it's 2018
like-
now. You can't even.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's just an expression. I don't even know where Queer Street even comes from. So anyway, he had the guy rock, but I got to give it to Whitaker because he hung in there. I mean, he didn't even know where he was.
And with a broken hand.
Did you score for him though?
I thought it was a draw.
Draw.
I thought it was a draw because if you go 10-8, but it was a draw or Whitaker won. I can't see how Romero won. But if you go by damage, it goes to Romero. Like back in old scoring days where they used to go on damage, like in Pride, I think, or like then I would say. But in this one, no. But it was a great fight. It was a great fight.
A hell of a fight.
And
they
then
always have good fights.
And then Colby, we're going to talk to in a second, who said that he was going to teabag the other guy in the octagon.
Did he do it?
No, he didn't knock him out, but he won 4 rounds to 1. He outworked him, outgrappled him. Just kind of, I wouldn't say he really hurt him. He just basically he just won.
He mildly embarrassed him a little bit
Yeah.
in a weird way because I don't think most people expected Colby to do what he did, and I also don't think they really expected RDA to be kind of like. He wasn't flat, but he wasn't himself.
Well, I think Colby got into his head, but then he said he's going to bring the belt to the White House, and actually Donald Trump Jr. commented on his thing saying, "Good job, Colby." So he actually might be going to the White House. He actually just posted on Instagram today, Colby Covington, and he actually said he's at the White House. Like he tagged at the White House.
Well, they need as many athletes to go in there and give them the thumbs up as they can get now, right?
So he writes. On Instagram, and this dude is hilarious. And then he said he was going to smack Joe Rogan. He called him Taekwondo Joe, but he never did that either. He goes, "Screw the National Filth Ball League, the NFL. They don't deserve the White House. See you soon, Mr. President. # Make America Great Again." So
I love Colby Covington so much.
really,
Yeah, dude. 'Cause he's a character. How many fighters are characters like that?
no. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
There's 3 of them, and their first names all start with C.
Connor, Colby, and who else?
Chael.
CM
And
Punk.
Chael.
Yeah, this kind of stuff reminds me of WWE or something.
It 100% is.
characters
Well,
like
we
that.
had one of those too on Saturday.
Yeah, we had CM Punk
for real?
fought again, and he got the crap beaten out of him by a guy who was 0-1, who they said he had world-class boxing, but he got knocked out by a jiu-jitsu guy. The guy that came to my birthday party knocked him out, Mickey Gall. And he, CM Punk looked terrible. And what's crazy is that the guy had 3 years with the best wrestling coach in the world, Askren, one of the best wrestling coaches out there, one of great world-class striking coach, and a world-class grappling coach. And
a hell of a team behind him.
hell of
as
a
well.
team. I don't know. I don't understand why nobody told him, 2 months out, bro, I can't support you.
How old is he? 45?
No, he's 40, but
He's about 40.
if you're friends with a guy, right, and there's a hot girl at the club, and you know the hot girl is going to reject him,
Warn him.
you warn him. Be like, dude, it's not going to go well for you.
Yeah, don't buy drinks for her.
Well, but maybe there's a
Simple.
chance where I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example, but it just I don't know. It didn't go well, and he got beat up.
But at the same
and then-
time, you've even said on the show before, you've talked to, so-and-so's teammates, and they say, how are you doing? How's he looking for the fight? And they're like, I don't know, man.
Oh yeah,
And this
his,
and that.
his, his teammates were
You
saying
need to be honest. You need
Yeah.
to be honest with this guy.
at the same time he made it, and everyone's like, he's so courage, so much heart. He got $500,000 for that fight.
Yeah, he made $1,006,000 for the 2 fights.
I mean,
For two losses.
is that
he's
a
the
ho-
highest paid loser in UFC history? He has to be.
Wow. Now is that hard when you get $1.5 million?
So he's a WWE guy trying to transition.
Yeah.
Now, of all the WWE guys who have tried to make this transition, have any of them
Brock
been
Lesnar
successful?
became the heavyweight champion.
There's only
Brock.
really
But
been
Brock
2.
was also a college wrestler,
Okay.
2-time national champion. High school.
So
I
he
think
had
he was,
a real great pedigree anyways, right?
and he's also heavyweight, which is arguably the weakest division. I hate to say it, but there's just not
Okay.
that many people doing it. You know, you can become. It's a lot harder when guys are 170, 185. I think there's more of them. Most heavyweight guys that are that good are going to boxing, I would assume, or football. Most guys are going to football
Yep.
because if you're that big and agile and you can make millions of dollars and do it for 10 years or 7 years, or you could work 10 times as hard and get knocked out by huge guys, you know,
For no money, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the pool was like when the UFC was looking for CM's second opponent. It was not originally going to be Mike Jackson. I think they were trying to look for somebody that could kind of make CM look a little bit better than he is making a fight. But then and I was nervous. I thought Mike, it was possible, but just watching CM Punk.
I think he put money on himself. So what happened was the other guy got cut too. The other guy was beating him up, but playing with him. It was, you know how you fight your little brother or your cousin
Yeah.
and you give him noogies. So he had him on top and was going like this and then punching him and then
Watch this hand. Watch this hand,
like
bam.
doing the Hulk Hogan thing. And then he act like he wasn't even want to be there. I honestly think he put $1 million on himself to win by decision. That would not surprise me. So they cut him too. They cut him for looking bad and win and victory. They cut everybody.
It's like the second time they've ever cut both fighters after a fight. It happened once before, and it was a very long time ago.
So the next big
And
fight.
there's your cut with a win thing too that we've been discussing for years. He got cut on a win.
He got cut on a win, but he shouldn't have been there. I mean, that's the only time they're going to put an 0-1 fighter in the UFC.
Well, Dana even said afterwards, I never should have put that on pay-per-view. And we're all sitting here going, well, yeah, we could have told you that a while ago. Man.
Yeah, right.
Look at the rest of the card.
But you're not going to. People only a lot of people ordered it because of that.
It's in Chicago. I mean, it put asses in the seats.
So, all right, let's talk about the upcoming fight in 2 weeks. UFC Singapore. Donald Cerrone versus Leon Edwards. It's a good fight. Donald Cerrone, if you don't know, is a guy who at one point was fighting every week. He was a professional bull rider. He used to bang Prime Brittany Palmer. Not that she's not very attractive now, but Prime. And he first time I met him, he goes, "Roast me, I'll beat the fuck out of you." And I was like, "That's all you got to say." And then we became friends. He came to my show with his grandma and his
grandma
and his girlfriend. His grandma comes to all his fights. He lives at this ranch, and then he talks about being broke. But you can see him on Instagram where he has one of those things where those things that ride waves where you could go in the air and fly.
Yeah.
Like a hoverboard.
It's flyboarding.
What's it called?
Flyboarding.
No, he spends his time flyboarding and then goes, "I'm broke." Yeah, well
Is that
why are you?
water jetpack it has like a giant coil to it and it just shoots you out of the water and you're
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
I've always
Rocketeer.
wanted to do that.
So, yeah, this is what he's doing,
I'll be doing it on my honeymoon.
and he lives on a ranch with other fighters and trains all day. So yeah, so he's fighting, and he never watches tape on any of his opponents. You'll be like, "Who you fighting next week?" He's like, "I don't know." He just gets in there and kicks people's asses. So he's fighting Leon Edwards though, but Edwards is no joke.
That's Rocky.
Leon might win this. I hate to say it, but Cerrone has not been. Well, Cerrone won his last fight against Yancey. That was a good fight.
Yeah.
But then Yancey hugged his mom afterwards. That was kind of weird.
His grandma.
His grandma.
And gave her a kiss.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
Could be a Hawaiian thing.
Yeah, Hawaiian thing. I'm pulling for Cerrone though. I want Cerrone to win. Also, OSP versus Tyson Pedro.
Damn. It's a good fight, dude.
Another good fight. I like
grapplers match.
I like OSP.
Yeah?
Yeah. Jess,
My girl.
is fighting Jessica I. Ooh, that's a good fight. Jessica I is a girl I hung out with one time. I was in Ohio, and she invited me out to hang out on a boat. And I was like, this is awesome. It was me, her, and her. She brought 3 of her friends. I was like, great. But she came to my show. She's super cool. But then she's like, hey, let's throw a football. She was throwing spirals I think was like the biggest girl ever. Like
The wobble.
yeah. She's all like fucking has like a 10-pack. I have man boobs. I was in the ocean wearing like a fucking t-shirt. It was and then she's throwing footballs. Like I'm like yeah. It was really embarrassing to me. She said that none of that was all going on in my head. But so anyway, she's fighting this girl Jessie Jess, who she's super pretty, fun, tattoos everywhere, great butt, fun. Weendawg is in love with her.
Yeah, I'm in love with her, dude.
And she's-
hot,
Does she know?
Australian.
Did you tell her?
Yeah, I talked to her. She knows.
Yeah, she knows.
Yeah, we're gonna go on a date.
Yeah, he's asked
But
her
don't
out.
you have a girlfriend in brain surgery?
Yeah, what about what about your
I
girl?
gotta get this date with Jessie Jess going on soon, dude, before my girlfriend wakes up.
Yeah.
Really? So
Yeah, you
now,
gotta-
now
you
if
gotta hit
Jessie
her while
Jess
she's-
tomorrow
while she's
was like,
down.
"Hey, you want to bang?" What would you do?
I'd probably say no.
Why are you shaking your head? Yes.
Tell people that.
Well, come on, man. Really?
Well, we do. I mean, she is my hall pass person.
To who? Did you talk about it with your girlfriend?
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, while she was
I talked to
sleeping.
Jessie Jess about that. I said,
No, not yes. You talked to your girlfriend about you
She's
having a
out
hall
cold.
pass.
She's out cold in the hospital.
made her
but can I
sign
fuck her? Yeah. Oh, she said yes. She nodded.
She wasn't nodding. She was having an epileptic fit.
Yeah. Does your girlfriend know that you're allowed to have a hall pass?
You know, it's up in the air right now. I mean, she has a
What?
hall
Her
pass,
feet
too.
in a fucking coma? Like, what do you mean?
I mean,
up
she
in
has
the
a
air?
hall pass too.
He adjusted
dude.
the bed.
She has a
before
hall
that.
pass.
Yeah.
Who's her hall pass?
John Goodman.
Shut up,
What do you mean?
John. Why is your voice going up right now? Fucking clown.
Come on, dog. It's no big deal.
It is a big
Nah,
deal.
First of all, I treat Jessie Jess with respect. I say, I'm sorry, Jessie, but your time is, you ran out of time. I got a girl now.
Okay.
And, I mean, I don't want to tell her that before a fight, dude. I don't want to get her emotional.
Oh, I'm sure she's gonna be
I
devastated.
think she's in Singapore already. I don't think she's concerned.
Yeah, I don't want to get her emotional before the
Have you ever hooked up with a fighter?
What do you mean by fighter?
Like someone fighting
Not
AIDS?
just a
No,
pro
like
slap you.
A professional?
Professional
No.
fighter, yeah.
No,
No?
not professional.
Have you ever had like a fit girl, a really fit chick?
Oh yeah, many times.
No, I mean, I know that you're all ripped yourself, but is that
No.
is it hard being with a girl in better shape than you?
Haven't you've been with girls in better shape than you, haven't you?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Okay,
Yeah.
although the one chick that
I
time I
enjoy
was
it.
with a girl, her muscles were so big. During the BJ, I was looking at, I was more impressed by her fucking her biceps. I was like, damn, I wish I had those fucking arms.
Hey, can I see a picture of this girl that
Jessie Jess.
Jessie
Jessie
Jess?
Jess that you have a hall pass for? I'd like to
do
see.
it.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
like to see what would.
So
what
hot.
She is really pretty. She's got like a really cool look to her.
Australian accent.
Australian accent.
Australian?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hot.
So hot.
Okay, so on the Fight Press past prelims, Matt Schnell, he's fighting.
Danger. That's my buddy.
Jake Matthews, my buddy Jake Matthews, he better win. He's fighting Shinshao Anzai. This guy looks like he's a fucking a bad guy from a video game or something. And yeah, so it's not that many names on that, but
They're
I
like
mean-
single names with the opponents that we don't know who the hell they are.
yeah.
Green, blue, purple hair.
Well,
She's
she
like
has black hair now.
oh, she's like an anime character in this thing.
Yeah, I mean the big one is UFC 226. That's gonna be the best card ever.
Yeah, Stipe.
Stipe Miocic
DC.
versus Daniel Cormier. What a fight. Okay, so Jonesy, Stipe Miocic is the heavyweight champion. He's beaten everybody. He lost one time a couple years ago. He's also a full-time firefighter. Like full-time, has not left the fight, and a paramedic. Played baseball in college and wrestled in college.
Where's he from? What country?
From Ohio.
He's from Ohio. He's American.
But
Croatian.
Croatian.
Yeah, I've never been. I don't think he's been to Croatia.
Yeah.
And the guy he's fighting is Daniel Cormier, who has only 2 losses. Were both to John Jones. Afterwards, he tested positive for steroids both times. And Cormier was a 2-time Olympian, and he was a national champion wrestler, and just this amazing athlete. But Stipe is a heavyweight. Cormier is 205. So that's
There's like a foot difference in height.
yeah. I mean.
Maybe 3 feet.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at Cormier in the street, you'd be like, "Who is this cute putty?" He looks like Carl Winslow, like the guy from Family Matters. He looks like the father in Family Matters. Like you would never. Like we did that all about that cake. I'm like, Stipe's got a 6-inch reach advantage. Cormier's got an 8-inch waist advantage. But he just throws people on their heads. Like when he fought Hendo, he tossed him. Like Hendo hasn't been like that since like Noah's Ark. I mean, he just takes you and just fucking throw. I mean, he's got this weird strength, and he's awesome. And people are picking him to beat Stipe. I think it's going to be a good case of a good big guy beating a good small guy, but I can't wait to see it.
You're selling me on this. I
It's
normally
gonna
don't
be
watch
a
it.
fight.
I want to watch
It's gonna be a
this.
fight and a half, and they're both really good guys. I mean, they're both really good guys. They both came to my shows. Stipe brought his brother to my show, who like is like a smaller, chubbier. I'm like, what was this? Twins? Like he looks like he's Schwarzenegger. The other guy is DeVito. Cormier's been to my show too. Cormier is a good dude. Really good dude.
It's hard to pick,
I mean,
dude.
guys, Cormier, his father was murdered like at Thanksgiving when he was like 5 years old, and then he lost a baby to some kind of crazy accident. He's had like just horrible things happen in his life, and he's overcome them. And he's such a good person. And he's also a high school wrestling coach to boot. Like he's just a great dude. Two great dudes fighting, but Cormier's got to be almost 40, 39. Stipe's in his prime. He's younger.
And Cormier hasn't been at heavyweight in quite a few years.
But he won the heavyweight championship back in Strikeforce. He knocked out Josh Barnett. No, he beat Josh Barnett. He knocked him out. Knocked out Bigfoot Silva. But at that point, Silva was off TRT. My fucking Miles, my dog, could have knocked him out. but yeah, it's going to be a good fight.
Let's book a show in Singapore. Let's go.
No. This is in Vegas.
This is in Vegas? This is happening.
I'm
You're going to be there.
No, I'm going to be there. July 4th weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's
This
going
card is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So that card, and then Max Holloway's on the card. Max Holloway is this Hawaiian kid who started fighting at like age 4. He's just like this cool surfer dude, laid back, but just beats everybody. Awesome. He's fighting Ortega, who's undefeated, who just knocked out Frankie Edgar. No one's ever knocked out Frankie Edgar. I was there when that happened. Hit him with an uppercut. Edgar was still flying. It's that's going to be a great fight too. And Francis Ngannou, who looks like, I stood next to him. He's like 6'4", all muscle. His fist is bigger than my fucking head. I mean, he's just this guy from Africa that learned to fight in Paris, and he's just against the Black Beast, who after he won one of his fights, he's like, "Where's Ronda Rousey? Where's her fine ass out?" But like starts humping the ground, saying he's like, "Tell my wife tonight I'm going deep." Like he's this fucking like hilarious black dude. It's just gonna be black on black violence.
What happened with the body shot? It wasn't that bad. I really just didn't want to take a shit in the octagon.
Oh yeah, the one time he kind of quit because he had to take a shit. And then just fucking left. He like kind of went down.
No, he ended up winning.
No, that was against Hunt, right? When he
No, I thought it was the other one with the body kick, and then he ended up winning and going, I was just holding my stomach because I didn't want to shit myself.
Oh, my God.
Because they got that new rule now.
Oh, yeah.
What's the shitting rule?
If you shit, piss, or throw up in the middle of a fight, in your fight, it's an automatic TKO loss.
Oh, that's like what the kind of rules they had to apply to Magic Johnson when he went back into the NBA. Because he had that AIDS. It's like, Magic, if you shit or piss or throw up on the court, the game is over and your team loses. No.
Oh. I was like, I really believed you. Well, what happened was this girl shit herself during the fight. This
is common. Is this common to shit yourself during the fight? No.
All of a sudden.
Romero
I
shit
can
himself.
see
Tim Sylvia shit himself.
Throwing up, I can imagine.
Justine Kish shit himself.
Right?
Shit herself.
Justine Kish, but it was like,
and
it was like weird girl color shit too. You know how it's not like
color
She was
shit?
getting choked out from a rear naked choke, and she shit her pants.
Damn. And it was apparent. You could see it.
Yes, and somebody bought the fucking shorts after. Somebody paid.
somebody named CB Gold.
No, I can promise you I don't have
People are
those.
sick.
No, but then she was cool about it because then she wrote "shit happens" on on Instagram,
Yeah.
and then everyone kind of laughed about it and like forgot about it.
Except for the commissions that are like, we don't want to clean this up, so if we have to, you lose.
Well, then I was supposed to drive her to San Diego, and my wife's like, "You better put fucking spreading on her fucking car seat."
Put some wee-wee pads down or something.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, also on the card is Mike Perry, who's this guy who like, I don't even know how to describe this guy. He's got like
That's a dude from Friends?
No, that was
Matthew Perry.
That was Matthew Perry. I wish it was Matthew Perry. But Michael Perry, he has a tattoo on his eyebrow. He hits really, really hard, but he's like basically...
Wait, just the eyebrow? Only a tattoo on the eyebrow?
Platinum on his
It says
eyebrow.
platinum. And he's from Orlando.
I love him already.
He's basically like if Stitches, the rapper, was a fighter. is exactly what you would get in Mike Perry. But he's fighting this guy Yancey, who is an awesome but just a kind soul, and this like deep thinker, poet, fighter. But he's just a warrior. But Perry makes these videos where like, I went on Ancestry.com and found out that I'm 2% black, so then I could say the N-word, and then starts saying it over and over again.
He's
like
actually saying the N-word.
Yeah,
Wow.
but with an A, so kind of getting a little away with. Like he's insane. The dude's insane, but he hits really hard. But he's lost 3 fights in a row, and he's not that good at. I mean, he's a good fighter, but now he's at Greg Jackson's. Who knows what they can do with him because he's got lots of raw talent. That's the thing. Is so many guys have, like just amazing talent, but the coaching is so important. You can't just have it's like anything else. But the guys just devise really good game plans for you. That's what I was upset about Clay Guida over the weekend, because I really wanted him to win, and he just didn't.
Who do you got in that fight, Mike Perry or Yancey?
I want Yancey. I'm just afraid that he's gonna get. Yancey's not necessarily. He just likes brawling sometimes.
He's got a suspect chin.
Anybody can have a suspect chin if you just go punch for punch with people.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's what he does. It seems every fight he does that. Mm-hmm. And it's either the greatest fight you've ever seen, or he gets knocked out, or he gets hurt like he did against Cerrone. Now, Perry's not Cerrone, but he still hits, hits really hard. He knocked out Ellenberger. He knocked out a lot of guys. He puts guys to sleep.
Now, you're talking about these guys got to get good coaches, right? Like,
yeah.
What do these coaches go for? Like, what's the going pay for a coach? If you want to get a really high-level coach, what do you pay
It's a
him?
percentage out of your purse, usually.
So nothing up front, usually?
There's usually it depends on if you just walk onto the pro team, or if you because a lot of camps will be like, oh, so and so's leaving that camp, let's go get him, and they'll think, okay, we can make money off of them. So I'm not sure about up front, but I know it's a percentage.
Depends on the camp. Sometimes they'll put you up, they'll house you, they'll give you free coaching, but then you owe them a percentage. Other times you have to pay for it because you're not making that much money.
When you say camp, you're talking about like a whole team of people. You live there, and they're all getting a cut. All these people there.
Well, you live in like a house, like a fighter house. So
Fighter
there's like
house.
3 or 4 of you.
Why isn't that a reality show?
It should be.
is.
Well, not
Is
really.
it?
Ultimate Fighter.
But that's not a real fighter house.
No.
I mean, that's like a makeshift fighter house. Or it's a show where people fight to get into the UFC.
Yeah.
Some camps have dorms. I know TriStar has a dorm, so if you go up there to TriStar, you could stay there. And again, it's based on percentages. It's usually 5-10%. But there was one camp for a while that Johnny Hendricks was a member of, and they demanded 50% of your purse every single fight.
Were they the best?
No.
No, but they were like splitting it though. So like the guys, it's one thing if you're the guy who's making the most money is giving also the most money.
Yeah.
It's like some weird system.
One guy makes $100,000, one guy makes
Some
10
weird
grand,
socialist
and it's 50% on both, and it's like. But I just fought my ass off for $100,000, and I only get $5,000 from that guy.
But like sometimes like in theory that would work, but then
It ends up not working.
Also, Max Griffin, my man, Max Payne, fighting Curtis Millender. He's been on the podcast too. That's a really, really good fight. Max Payne just beat Mike Perry.
And Curtis Millender just knocked out Thiago Alves.
Yeah.
Brutally.
Yeah, that's a good fight. Asunciao fighting Rob Font, number 3 versus 12.
It's a good fight.
Asunciao should win that fight. Uriah Hall versus Paulo Costo.
Oh my God.
Well,
Fuck.
Costa's a scary dude.
so is Uriah Hall though.
Bohachinha is a fucking machine, dude.
Yeah, well, so Uriah Hall was the guy in The Ultimate Fighter that, like, he kind of was a little bit of a head case. Like, he was saying people were bullying him, but they weren't really bullying him. But he's got extreme knockout power, and he's just like these crazy spinning kicks. But he doesn't really. He gets in his own head. Like, he'll lose the first round. I don't know what he's doing, like thinking about his phone book or something. And then the second round, he'll come out with a kick and knock the guy in the. So his last fight, he didn't fight. I don't know. He couldn't make weight or something. But then there were rumors he was at some nightclub the week before partying. And meanwhile, you meet the guy. He came to a bunch of my shows. Nicest dude ever. Just a cool guy, but scary. I mean, he's just a scary dude.
He was the guy in The Ultimate Fighter that Dana said even before the season started. He was like, "There's a guy in this season that is a fucking murderer. He sent every opponent to the hospital, and nobody wants to fucking fight him."
Yeah, and then Kelvin
there.
Gastelum beat him, and then Gokhan Saki is fighting Khalil Roundtree. That's another great fight.
I
Gokhan
love
Saki.
Saki.
Yeah, you love Saki? What, like?
Yeah, Saki's a great.
What, drinking it?
Drinking it, yeah.
Gokhan
I'm pulling for
Saki's just-
Saki.
That
Gokhan
fight
Sa-
makes my head hurt.
He's this kickboxer, like number 1 in the world in kickboxing, right?
A fucking scary, scary, scary dude.
And he's fighting Khalil Roundtree, who, in one of his fights, this guy was on top of him, and his mom was yelling, "Get up!" And during the fight, he looks in the camera and goes, "Shut up, mom!" and started yelling at his mom during the fight. Of course, that clip went viral. Like way
This guy's
more.
obviously Jewish, right?
No, big black guy.
Really?
Yeah, big Jack Black guy.
I think this is a
Hilarious,
great
man.
matchup for Khalil because you know damn well it's never going to the ground. The two of them are going to swing until somebody gets destroyed.
So you think Khalil should take it to the ground? I mean, because it seems like if on the feet, Saki's better than Roundtree on the feet.
Well, Saki's got he's got a good chin, and he hits so fucking.
So does Khalil, though.
Hard.
I would say Khalil's more well-rounded, so I would say getting into the ground would be the best thing for him to do.
Yeah, for him to do. Yeah, but Saki fuck.
And then Michael Chiesa is fighting Anthony Pettis. So Chiesa is a guy who won the Ultimate Fighter, lives in the woods, big beard, nice guy, and he was going to fight at Madison Square Garden. And then when Conor McGregor took a dolly and threw it against the bus, the glass hit him in the eye. So then he couldn't fight.
That's the guy that got hit in the
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's fighting Anthony Pettis, who the guy he was supposed to fight, who back in the day was the scariest guy on the planet. He did this thing where one of his fights in WEC, he's fighting him, he runs against the cage, jumps off the cage, and then kicks the guy in the head. Like it was
kills him?
Yeah, and the guy's head exploded, and then all of a sudden points just started, like, you know those coins like in Mario Brothers?
Ding, 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 ding,
like he broke the dude, one time, and like this is kind of not related, but one time in boxing class, I put my money on top of like the speed bag, and somebody started hitting it, and then my wallet fell, and all of a sudden all my change, and the teacher's like, "You won, you won." But yeah, so that top to bottom, that whole card is stacked.
And they just announced that haven't been official, but they are announced 2 more fights for that card.
Who?
It's Jamie Moyle and Emily Whitmire.
Ooh, Jamie Moyle's a hottie. I think Hanato could have hit that.
She a little
changed half Japanese
too.
girl.
She left Syndicate to go to Alpha Male.
I see her at Alpha Male. That's a good
And
camp
then
for her.
your boy from the lab, Drakkar Klose.
Ooh!
He's fighting Lando Venata.
Oh, no.
That's a hell of a fucking fight.
I think Drakkar is going to win that fight. Drakkar is good. Lando's mostly a striker. Look at what
he was that flashy one that fought Tony Ferguson on short notice.
I know, but he didn't
beat Tony, dude.
Almost beat Tony a couple times.
Yeah.
But Drakkar beat the other guy from England. That with the blonde mohawk that they were calling the next big thing.
Oh, the red mohawk, Mark Jacasey.
Yeah, the guy that was throwing fucking fireballs during his fights and shit.
Yeah, Mark Jacasey, the Bone Crusher.
Yeah, well, fucking Drakkar fucked him up. So I think this might be the same thing here.
You guys ever bet on these fights?
Dude, meanwhile, last week, of course, somebody hits me up, and my friend Jack Jr., and says, "Hey, man, who should I bet on?" I gave him 7 guys. Of course, they all won.
They all won?
Yeah, if I would have parlayed it,
Dude.
I mean, they were mostly all favorites, but I still 100 would have won me probably like $2,000 on that. But they all won. No, I didn't bet on it because
You always win when you don't bet.
yeah, of course, because I don't think about it. When I think about it is when I lose. Because then you go, oh, he could win this way or that. You start convincing, talking yourself into it.
That's right.
If I just write down
You
who
gotta
I'm
go
going
for
to
your
win,
first impulse.
first impulse,
And stick
everything.
with it.
I know.
Or if you think about it too long, whatever your choice is, pick the opposite.
Yeah.
You're like,
No.
oh. Yeah. Like if you, in other words, you didn't use your instinct. You tried to use like analysis, and you came up. You're like, oh, I analyzed.
Here's
this.
why I don't like doing
I have
it,
an
though.
answer.
I don't like
go
doing
the
it 'cause
opposite.
I know, but the problem is I know most of the people, and then I feel bad betting against them. Especially if they come on the show, and I'm like, I'm so happy you won, and even though I fucking bet on them losing, or
maybe you just need to, make friends with all the, the good ones.
or I like resent them for losing because they would have won me money. Like it's just, it's
like money or friendship. Which you gotta pick one.
Not only that, but also these betting sites, they don't make it easy to collect because you bet on these sites. And then you have to like call in the next morning from like 9 to 9:30 on a Sunday,
Yep.
and then they go.
You got to meet a guy in the parking lot of a Radio Shack.
Or you got to go to some Best Western. You got to go to some fucking MoneyGram thing, and then it comes in from international, and you're like, well, if that doesn't work, call this number, and then we could pay you in Bitcoin or some fucking nonsense. And then they're like, oh, then they try to tell you, oh, only 200 out of the 2,000's available, so you got to collect all week. And then I go, well, listen, I have a podcast, and I could talk about how this works. They're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, actually, we have a 2,000 available. Like, then I gotta do that, and it's a lot of,
Okay.
It's not like being in Vegas where you just go to the casino, do it, come back, done.
That's supposed to be how it's going to be though everywhere though with the new gambling changes.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time you won, and it was like a 3-week hassle for you to get paid.
Yeah,
and
it was a
like,
whole thing.
You had to provide a birth certificate for like 4 generations ago.
I
and
know.
like,
I had to-
cut your finger off to prove you have the fingerprint or some shit.
I got
like-
really mad. I was pissed. I was actually pretty mad about it, but it's hard. It's hard also, and then they make it like. Then it gets like, well, if you pick this person by sub in the 4th round, you win this. They start getting really complicated with it. And then it starts to get kind of fun, but I don't know. Gambling is just an added stress. So we have an hour till Dana White's on the phone.
There were some other fights over the weekend that was curious about your opinion on.
Let's talk to me about it.
Because there was quite a few, but Holly Holm.
I said that was gonna happen.
I know. I
called that too.
You think Megan was flat, or just jitters, or
I
Holly
think
was too much of a
it's
test?
next level. There's levels to this shit. That's like what what's his
tough
name says.
debut.
That rapper says. There's levels to this shit. Who says that?
Takashi?
No, not Takashi.
Fucking no.
Be humble. Kendrick Lamar. I'm talking about.
Lamar.
Yeah. There's levels to the game, and Holly Holm has not fought anybody. I mean Megan, after 2 years out, has not fought anybody on that level.
Yeah.
And Holly Holm has. She's been in there. She beat Ronda Rousey. She's been in there with Cyborg. Come on, 5 rounds with Cyborg. And she just levels. Megan Anderson is a good fighter, but is not at that level yet.
Didn't people say that Megan was going to be the one to beat Cyborg?
She hits hard.
Yeah?
But
Well, Invicta, she looked like a fucking murderer.
But like Rocky said, but she didn't look like a murderer. Also, she got beat by Dandois. Sidney Dandois.
Wasn't that before her like knockout streak though?
She did, but she was not. But she wasn't. But she was knocking out girls. Yeah, she looked good,
Yeah.
but not Holly Holm good. And I think that people sleep on Holly Holm. I would like to sleep with Holly Holm. And no, I'm kidding. But she's just, I don't know. I saw that was. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it. It was just there's levels to it. I like Megan, but it was apparent.
I was so sad for Rashad.
Why?
I love Anthony Smith, but I like both of them. It was
That Rashad Evans fight was brutal.
tough to watch. There are a few splits though that were tough. The Pettis Benavidez.
I thought that Benavidez, if you don't give that first 10-8, then it's a draw, because he had him on Queer Street as I said earlier. But I thought that was a draw. Yo, Marlins game about to throw the first pitch. Oh, that's all. Okay, so that's amazing. So Colby Covington is at the Marlins game about to throw the first pitch. So I'm gonna say throw a strike. All right.
Just have him calling while he's throwing the pitch.
Yeah. So I guess we'll call him afterwards.
Okay.
Should we try Tyron Woodley?
Who's probably gonna hang out at the game after that? Normally they give him a really good seat after that. Like you get to sit in the dugout and shit. I don't think he's gonna be.
Well, maybe after Dana.
Yeah, we could try him after that.
Yeah.
For sure.
What did you think of the Gedalia Carlos decision?
Ooh, that was a tough fight to score.
And Carla's going on a rant now.
Carla said she was greasing.
Yeah, she said that Claudia was
and so was
greased.
I while I watched that fight. No, so yeah, that was a tough fight to score. That was I mean, you got to give the first round. I mean, Claudia was dominating until she got hurt. It's tough. See, it's like when someone lands a good punch and hurts the other person, but then I was surprised that Claudia was able to take Carla down. Carla's an All-American wrestler.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Maybe she wasn't expecting Claudia to go for a takedown.
That's exactly what happened. I thought I didn't hate the decision, but it
was going to be tough.
But I could see it going either way. It wasn't the worst decision I've ever seen. At the same time, I was hoping that Carla would win.
I'm thinking the worst decision you've ever seen was Mirsad Bektik's mustache.
That was pretty damn awesome. He looked like Don Frye in the fourth
I know,
grade.
I loved that
Well, then
one.
let me say it. Don't fucking talk over me, you fucker. If you love it so much, don't kill the joke. Anyway, so yeah, I like Bektik. Looked good though. Bektik. I always thought Bektik was good. I mean,
it's just fucking Elkins is just
yeah, he fought this one guy that is like you
Superhuman.
literally have to murder to beat him.
The Terminator? He
He's kind of like that.
like
the Terminator?
basically cut his head
Not
off.
this time. This guy has the worst tattoo ever. Like it says the damage. He came to my
It's
show.
like stitched up.
And
like
I said it should say the brain damage. Whoever got you that tattoo has brain damage. He's a good sport. I like him. He's a good guy. And he's a fucking tough as hell. And Berktik was killing him. And then he came by in the last 30 seconds and won the fight. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a big tattoo.
I'm looking forward to the next
man.
bare knuckle boxing event.
When is it?
I am too.
Yeah, it's a new thing now.
Are they televising this shit?
Yes, it's on pay-per-view. It's legal in Wyoming.
Only Wyoming?
Only Wyoming. And like England. And a bunch of people I know have done it so far and look pretty good doing it.
Yeah.
It's bare knuckle boxing.
Okay.
I got Rowdy Beck's doing it. Magani's doing bare knuckles deep fisting. But yeah, and it's badass.
How does it work?
Okay, it's boxing
Yeah.
with no gloves.
No, I know that, but I mean, same length in rounds.
No,
I
5
mean,
rounds. They're 2 minutes each.
Okay.
And it's a bloodbath after the first 30
yeah, are they
seconds.
stopping it after a little bit, and then they're just letting it go?
They let that Joey Beltran fight go.
Yeah, it looked like.
And that was a bloody murder.
Because you expect the blood. I mean, you really can't stop it.
And the
It's just gonna
hands
be
afterwards, like show a picture, like Rowdy Beck's hands.
Yesterday, yeah.
And that was like 2 weeks later.
Swollen, like.
Well, the whole thing's broken, right?
Well, that's also the problem is that like there's a guy who's telling me who's a very skilled bare knuckle boxer. What's his name? The guy that comes out
Bobby Gunn.
Bobby Gunn. And he
He's
said
like
you
the
gotta.
pioneer.
He, according to him, he's 97-0 in bare knuckle boxing matches. But most of his fights are on like airport hangars at 3 o'clock in the morning with like gypsies.
You can't
Yeah.
confirm this.
So I can't confirm this. I've seen a couple. So but you gotta like almost throw punches in slow motion, and it's all about like timing and like where you place the punches. Otherwise, you'll break your hands. Hence, every UFC guy that went in there this week and just started throwing not even throwing leather, throwing knuckles.
Whoa.
And it was crazy.
That's nasty, those knuckles. Look at that.
Yeah. So it was pretty damn cool.
You can't play video games for days.
They're like.
Yeah. It's
They're,
great.
they're like rounded.
That's a woman's hands?
That's a chick. Yeah, that's Rowdy Beck Rollins.
That's a woman's hands? Oh,
that's
man.
Rowdy Beck.
Those
She's
look
a
like the
tough
hands
bitch.
of a male Czech, like, deep tissue massagist. Masseuse.
Let's try Phil Baroni. See if.
I want to see one of these fights.
Oh, dude, they're pretty damn cool. I was skeptical.
No kicking, huh? They're like, no kicking.
No, but you're allowed to hold the back of the person's head and just like hockey punch them, like uppercut over, which is what the girl did. But the announcer was like, I don't know if this is legal. So it's never a good time when the announcer goes, I don't know if this is legal during a fight. Like usually you had to know what's legal and what's not. But I guess it's like Queensberry rules or something, or like the rules haven't been first time in 100 years. But what's going on now is the British bare knuckle boxing is mad at the American bare knuckle boxing. Like they're feuding, the promoters, because I guess they're saying that they're the real bare knuckle boxing, and it's a whole. There's a lot of. It's pretty unbearable. So
Hey.
anyway, yeah.
Who are you calling now?
So we're calling this guy Phil Baroni, who used to be a male stripper. One of the legends of fighting. He won his fight in the UFC, and he goes, "I'm the best ever." But
fucking man.
yeah. But since then, he's had an up and down. He's a great guy. He's just he's got some issues, right? How do I describe Phil? He's from Long Island.
He's very confident.
Yeah, very confident. He loves banging, and according to him, he's made millions of dollars on Bitcoin. And now he opened up a marijuana ranch in Stockton.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk to Phil, see how he's doing. But he won his last fight in 10 seconds, and then the crowd all started throwing a beer at him. So.
Oh yeah, and then they were like screaming at him outside of the arena, and he's like, "Come on, motherfucker, I'm still here."
Well, that one guy he punched. You see that thing where he punched the guy in like the stomach? Some guy put his hands on him.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And he said that shot to the gut though, or some shit.
Yeah. I may just put it this one.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see or read anything about the High Rollers BJJ event on Sunday?
Yeah, there was So there was a
There's a
marijuana
jiu-jitsu tournament.
at a dispensary. Joe Rogan was there supposedly.
Eddie Bravo, Hanato, Jeff Glover, Georgie Karakanyan. I think Rogan showed up, but like Felony was there.
Crazy Horse is there?
Yeah, Eve showed up. Eve posted there were a bunch of people that just showed up there. Nick Diaz was there.
Who won it?
I don't remember,
Glover,
but I do
Jeff
know in the
Glover.
main event they like stopped it and
Why?
they gave both jiu-jitsu players the joint and they took a bunch of hits and then they had their match.
Oh, come on.
I swear to God, there's video of it. Eddie Bravo's standing there and he hands them the joint and they're sitting there fucking smoking it and then they go to roll.
And the grand prize is a pound of weed.
Yeah, it was a pound of weed
That's
for the
it?
grand prize.
That's all.
Yeah, but there were multiple
That's lame
divisions.
grand prize, man.
Like my friend Johnny Cisneros, who fights in Bellator, he was in the blue or purple belt division. So there was a fair amount of names and like random show ups. But Nick Diaz had a meet and greet from 6 to 8, so he was just hanging out there.
I saw that Nate missed the plane. He put it on Instagram. That he
I didn't
missed
even
the
know
plane.
that Nate was supposed to be there.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
knew Nick was supposed to be
How come
there.
you weren't there?
Because quit smoking weed, and
Oh.
I didn't want to be inside of somewhere where everybody's token up and I'm going through withdrawals, hating life.
No, stop being a fucking drama queen.
Is this what it's always like behind the curtain of the MMA Roasted Podcast? You guys sit around, shoot the shit, a lot of joking, then you just call as many dudes as you know.
Yeah,
let's
pretty much.
see if so and so's.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, a lot of times our guests cancel. I don't know. Kobe was throwing out the first pitch. I confirmed with him 3 times today that 245, 245, 245.
You would think that he would remember that he's throwing out
the first pitch of the Marlins game.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we'll try him after Dana.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what time is it now?
So
I guess it's about 7. Those
So-
games are at 7 usually.
yeah. But anyway, basically that's all it. I guess we'll have to call Don Frye.
I didn't want to say it,
I
but
think we have to.
that's our go-to.
So Don Frye is a legend, by the way. Don Frye, he
Sounds like a mafia dude.
He basically has a
Don
mustache.
Frye.
He's got some of the greatest fights of all time. He was one of the original tough guys, and he used to wear these little shorts. He's like a Magnum PI was a person. Hey, Don Frye. What's up, man? You're on the. Should I call him from here? Skype.
Yes.
I'm gonna call you back in 2 seconds. Okay? 2 seconds. All right. So.
What's he He's growling.
Grunting.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
He's one of the OG vets. in the
Yeah.
UFC.
Don
How old
Frye.
is he?
80?
Shit, really?
He's older. He's older. But he.
Pioneers from like way back in the day, like the 90s, dude, or like the early 2000s.
He had one of these fights against Tekiyama where literally it was like a hockey fight where they just like hit each other in the face for 20 minutes until somebody went down, and it wasn't Don Frye. He's a real man's man. Hey, Don Frye, how's it going?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, you're on the MMA Roasted Podcast. We were just talking about you, how you're a legend. Your fight with Tekiyama will go down in history as the greatest fight of all time. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
So what have you been up to?
Still going through this divorce, partner.
Ah.
Supposed to wrap it up after 2.5 years.
Sorry about that. Now, I saw a picture of you at Misha Tate. Did anything ever happen with that?
What was that again?
I saw a picture of you and Misha Tate. Now, is that baby going to come out with a mustache? I know she just had a baby. Is it going to have a big Don?
No, shit. I'm not allowed to. After my speech at last year's Hall of Fame, I'm not allowed to mention her name.
Really? Well,
I got the nasty grams from some lawyers.
Oh, really?
You know, I gotta stay 500 yards away from her. You know.
Well, you did call her a fine piece of meat like 75 times during your speech into the Hall of Fame, but that's ridiculous. You're not allowed near her. That's kind of excessive, no?
Well, that's a compliment to me. You know, jeez. I mean, how many women get that compliment?
Yeah, you're right. You're saying that if she's near you, she won't be able to control herself.
What's that?
So you're saying if she's near you, she won't be able to control herself because of your Don Frye.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm the man of men. You know, the manliest man on the planet. You know, if I'm calling you a good piece of meat,
Yeah,
it don't get no better than that, baby.
you're right. People can't take compliments anymore. You would think being called a fine piece of meat, would be a compliment. Yeah, So,
Now you can't give a compliment anymore. It's some kind of sexual enhancement, and
Yeah.
violate them, and
yeah. Now back in the
society, everybody wants to be offended. Everybody, got flowers growing out their ass. They're a bunch of cowards.
a bunch of flowers growing out of girls' asses, people's asses. I hear you. Now I saw that you're in a movie. Now it's called. What is it called? Fight, Fist of Fury.
Fist of the
It's you,
Fury.
Richard Grieco,
Bill Goldberg.
Gokor is in it.
Gene LaBelle.
Gene LaBelle, jiu-jitsu guy. What's his name? The guy who comes. You know what I'm talking about. Guy came to my show.
I'm looking.
Yeah. I mean, this is this huge movie you're out. Fist of Fury.
Fury of the Fist.
Fury
and
of the
Golden
Fist.
Fleece.
And the Golden Fleece.
Danny Trejo, Jason London, Ron Jeremy, Sam Jones, Tiny Lister, Richard Grieco, Ernie Reyes Jr., Maurice, Tommy Davidson, Chuck Zito. I mean, Don the Dragon Wilson.
Yeah.
Victor Ortiz, Roman Matichian. Fuck, dude. Gina Bell. I mean, it goes on forever.
Yeah. Now, when's this movie coming out?
Yeah, it's already out. I think it came out back on the 25th or 28th of May. It's already out on Netflix or Amazon.
I want to see it.
I'm going home to watch
I want to
it.
see. Also, Higa Machado's in it as well. He's playing a Chinese waiter, which makes
like a stretch.
Makes a lot of sense. What was your part in the movie?
Yeah, I was the star of the movie, baby. Come on, what do you got to ask something like that?
No. Okay. So what?
It was hard work.
So what
It was hard
IMDb
work
says.
carrying all those people, man. Especially Richard Grieco. God dang, man. You think the guy was the #1 actor in the universe here 20 years ago, and now I got to carry him. God dang, was that hard work.
So what was your character in the movie? What type of part was it?
Oh, I yelled a lot. Let's put it that way. All I did is I ran around angry at the world and yelled.
Huh.
Did you do any?
Working with Richard Grieco, man, it was fun. It was like going to school every day, man. Just watching that guy is a privilege. You learn from that guy every second. He's doing something.
Yeah, Richard Grieco was one of my favorite guys in 21 Jump Street back in the day. I used to love that guy. I used to love that show. Now, if there was a fight on set between you, Don the Dragon Wilson, Higan Machado, and Bill Goldberg, who do you think would have won the fight?
Well, who do you think won the fight, you big dummy?
Don Frye. Fucking Don Frye. Now, why didn't you... Yeah, of course. Now, why didn't you enter the Bellator heavyweight tournament?
They didn't call me. They didn't call me and ask me. Shit.
That is some bullshit, right? Don't you think you would have won it?
You bet your sweet ass. Especially that freaking idiot football player who is a moron from Ohio State.
Matt Mitrione? Yeah.
Matt Mitrione. He sounds like a kind of piano lounge singer, Matt Mitrione. What a bozo that horse is at, man. You talk about a jack off. That guy's just a whopping sperm cell.
No, what is it about him you don't like?
Everything.
Have you ever met him?
I sat next to that arrogant prick at a fight in San Jose a couple years ago, and I kept trying to scrape the smell off the bottom of my shoes for a month. I just throw my shoes away, my boots away, get a new pair of boots.
Fuck, man. Damn. So you're not a Matt Mitrione fan. Now, do you think he's going to beat Fedor?
No, I think he got lucky the last time. He got luckier than
You and a group of Dallas cheerleaders or something.
Back here.
He's fighting Bader.
Now, who's he fighting?
He's fighting Ryan Bader.
He's fighting Ryan Bader next. And then Chael Sonnen is fighting Fedor. So who do you think is going to win the whole tournament?
Oh, Fedor wins. I'll bet my ticket truck on it.
Now, they're also trying to say that John Jones might fight Brock Lesnar. Dana White's trying to make that happen.
If anybody can make it happen, it'd be Mr. White.
Who do you think wins that fight?
Oh, well, it depends on which one of them has the best chemical solutions in their body at the time.
Yeah, those guys are pretty. I mean, they both tested positive how many times? And they keep getting more and more chances. But I got to think John Jones beats Brock Lesnar at this point. I mean, maybe a prime Brock Lesnar.
I would go with Jones. You know, because I think once Jones hits him with that back friction and elbow, you know, I there's going to slip in the pull a fifth.
Yeah. Now, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Who do you like in that fight?
I go Stipe. I'm going Stipe all the way.
Now, listen, I know you're going through a divorce, but you live in Arizona. You're a living legend. You still look good. The women love you. Can't you go to one of these bars, these cougar bars in Arizona, just pick up a nice lady and, you know, do your thing?
I got a nice lady. I got the most beautiful lady in the world sitting right next to me. She weighs 60 pounds. She's got an undershot jaw. She's a blonde. She snorts like a pig. That's like an English bulldog you're seeing here by. She's the love of my life.
It's a dog.
I hope it's a dog. Otherwise, this might be a different conversation.
That's a dog.
What kind of?
Tell me I said English bulldog, didn't I?
Oh yeah, it's an English bulldog. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, but what about? I know that's really sweet that you have a dog. What about an actual girl though? Like a nice girl. Arizona's full of these rich cougar women they would love a piece of the American hero like Don Frye.
You know what? I got a real bad in my teeth. Real bad taste in my mouth right now for the female sex.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just hanging out my bulldog. You know, I'm looking for a new horse. You know, so my ex-wife basically killed my horse by neglect. You know, he was colicking, and we had to vet out. Right, so I was over there in California filming that movie we just talked about, you know.
Yeah.
And I called up and said, we're going to Mexico. We're going to go to the beach. I said, well, isn't the horse colicking? Yeah, there's nothing I can do. He'll be fine. So he ended up dying.
Your ex-wife killed your horse?
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn, man. All right.
I had that horse 24 years, man. My best friend in the whole planet.
Sorry, Don. Sorry that happened to you. But don't give up on all females. There's another one out there. You're still a young guy, and you're a hero, man.
Yeah.
And look at the guys you beat. Look at the things you've done in your life. You were on a fucking Priceline commercial with William Shatner. I mean, how many people can say that? How many people can say that?
Well, you know what's funny is, you know, I was the captain of the Goshenko, you know, the Godzilla movie. And, you know, Shatner was captain of the Enterprise, you know, so we rule the universe.
Was Shatner cool?
Yeah, he was okay. He was okay.
Cool. Well, listen, Don, thanks for being on the podcast. You're an American hero. I love talking to you, brother.
Well, I tell you what, who's that idiot who runs Bellator now?
Scott Coker.
Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell that idiot. He wants to sign a real fighter. Sign me, and I'll beat the piss out of that bitch you own the piano lounge singer.
Okay, I'll tell Coker.
There you go.
Take care, brother.
I'll kick that Ohio State Buckeye halfway all over the planet.
Thanks a lot, Don. You're the best.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. All right, that was Don Frye, living legend right there. Yeah, good guy. Good guy, man.
He's awesome.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah. CB has to go. Take care, man. We go to tattoo shop?
Yeah, I gotta go to work.
Nice seeing you, CB.
Take care,
CB.
buddy. Yeah, dude. Like his fights are epic. He's just a tough dude, and he's got so many good fights in him. He fought back when men were men. You know, there was like no like time limits, no weight classes really. Just he was just back. They weren't making tons of money. He was just a fighter. He was just a real fighter.
And he still fights occasionally, or no?
No, he's
too old.
I mean, he still would fight.
Yeah.
But I don't think putting him in a cage right now would be the best. I mean, look, guys got a right to earn a living, and I'll watch, but he's not.
He sounds like he wants to fight. Is why I ask.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he sounds like he.
But he's had so many back surgeries and like, just, yeah.
You wouldn't see him in the octagon anymore.
No.
Sort of like how Chuck Liddell sort of wants to come back. It's kind of like
No, he wants to do that
They
too.
signed him. Oscar
Did they?
De La Hoya signed Chuck and Tito supposedly for his new fighting league.
He's gonna fight for sure.
I hope not. I mean, what are we doing here?
That'd be rough, dude. It's kind of sad.
Who wants to see that? Me.
I mean, yeah, I
me
kinda
too.
wanna watch it.
I'll definitely watch it.
I ain't gonna
But
lie.
okay, but I'm just saying it's not a good idea. And it's I mean, I guess if they fight each other, maybe that's okay because it's like two older guys fighting each other. It's like two grandpas
So
fighting.
there's a 20-year age gap between them, right?
Ooh, Chuck and Tito?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both. It doesn't matter. They're both past their prime. I say Tito's in better shape than Chuck, but Chuck's beat him twice. I mean, at this point, it's funny. I remember when I used to date this girl Emily, and she hated it. Like she hated it. I'd be like, I'm watching the fight. She's like, enough with you and the snowman. I'm like, he's the Iceman. She kept calling him the snowman.
That's pretty dope. That's a cool nickname also.
The snowman?
Yeah.
Really? The John Jones is fucking the Coke man.
What do you think about Jones versus Brock Lesnar? Looks like it's gonna happen, dude.
I told you, it's like the battle of it's the PED championship. for the
Yeah.
I think Jones runs through him.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if Brock comes charging at him like he did, like Mark Hunt, just
Mark Hunt's like 5'2". Jones is like 6'1", 6'2", or something.
he's like 6'3", maybe 6'.
And Brock is not good at taking punches and kicks. Remember against Overeem when he was like took like 3 punches and he was done? Remember when he fought Cain Velasquez? He was literally running away. It's gonna be like all of a sudden he wins one fight against Hunt, and people forget about all the other guys they fought that had speed on them. It does not do well.
And it would be in heavyweight, of course.
And how old is Brock? Come
Who
on,
knows, dude? Who knows?
I mean, what are we doing here? Am I gonna watch it? Sure. I love Brock Lesnar, and he hasn't taken that much damage. It just seems like he's not good. You can't tell me 7 years later he's better at taking punches.
And I think people would expect him to be clean this fight.
No, there's no way.
You
See,
don't
at this
think so?
point, like they said, like put it on like an island or like on a boat in the middle of the like we're in like international waters where there's no rules ever.
In space.
Yeah, put it in space. Would I want Brock to win? Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't root for a guy who hits a pregnant John Jones. When he was the champion, amazing fighter,
Greatest fighter of all time.
beating everybody, awesome, just so gifted. 2 brothers were in the NFL. Mom had 3 kids, 2 NFL, one's a champion. I think he was a college wrestler, New York State champion, I believe. And then he gets busted for cocaine. Okay, we could all look past that, sure. Then he hits a girl with his car who was pregnant, leaves the scene of the accident, comes back, gets his drugs, leaves again. Granted, he didn't know she was pregnant, but still. So then he's like, I learned my lesson, yada yada. Then he gets caught with steroids once. Says I was taking Viagra. Maybe he was taking Viagra because that would whatever. Because when you do cocaine, your dick isn't fucking hard. But then he gets popped again after beating Daniel Cormier for the second time with steroids. It's like, what are you doing? Now it's been so long since he's fought, and it's just like, it's terrible, man. It's fucking terrible. But it's a shame because he's so talented. So talented.
Damn, these WWE dudes. So the first
I mean,
CM Punk,
WWE did.
Well, I want to talk about this. The first CM Punk card, like UFC 203 or something, had like 350,000 buys, pay-per-view. But this one, UFC 225, had only 150,000.
Now, are those numbers confirmed?
It's like sort of the official numbers that are floating around on Twitter and the internet.
Yeah, sometimes
But
those
it's
numbers
hard
are not real. I mean, first of all, I think a lot of people are still stealing these fucking cards, watching them for free on, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And I think that's hurting it. Facebook Live or this live or that live, Instagram, whatever people are watching it on. Whitaker Romero is not a big draw.
Right.
I mean, Romero is not a draw at all. I mean, he's a Cuban guy, doesn't speak English. He's just not. People aren't excited by him. Whitaker, who's from Australia, great athlete, seems like a great guy, but just doesn't seem to resonate with people. He should. He's awesome.
I get it.
Doesn't. So then you go to the second card, Colby Covington, Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos, not another draw either. Colby Covington, yeah, people like him because of his thing. Still only has like 35,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have that big push behind him yet. I think this is all helping. The throwing out the pitch at the Marlins game. I think going to the White House. There's nobody in there that's doing that. So then you go down the card of CM Punk. This is not after seeing him getting embarrassed in a minute. Are people really going to tune in again? I mean, WWE fans are they're loyal, but to a point. Mm-hmm. And he's not coming right from wrestling anymore. The mystique is gone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I also had another question about, like, fighter payouts, like how the UFC pays the fighters. So I saw, like, on the salary count for UFC 25, I saw that, like, CM Punk made, like, $500,000. Robert Whittaker made, like, $300,000 or something like that. I think Kobe made $300,000 also. And then Alistair Overeem almost makes $1 million.
Yeah.
Can you explain how he makes so much money?
Because at one point he was super hot.
Yeah.
Like when he knocked out Brock Lesnar or finished that fight and came over from Pride or from, I think it was in Strikeforce. He was just a really hot commodity. You looked at him. Back TRT, Overeem is scary, dude. Before he started,
was he just on TRT? Or there's some other stuff in there?
I don't know. Like if you look at him before, and he's like 180 something, and then you look at him, he's like 260, all muscle.
His head's like the size of a pumpkin.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that also is a.
He has to be one of the top paid UFC fighters in the roster, right? Who else makes that kind of money per fight?
Overeem. Yeah, but that was like one of those like 5-fight deals.
Oh.
And that was when he was killing people. And now he's not anymore. I mean his last fight against Ngannou, remember his head went like that. Ngannou threw this uppercut. His head was in orbit. I mean they photoshopped his head like it was like a cartoon punch, like a cartoon punch another cartoon, and like the head just goes. That's exactly how it went. It was insane. And then everyone was on the fucking that train, and that guy fought Stipe, and Stipe just wrestle fucked him, beat him down, and they were like, okay, this guy has no answer for wrestling, which a lot of people, were actually thinking that. But I'm not off the Ngannou train right now either, because he lost to Miocic.
Did you see his before and after picture for Ngannou? Like before he got like extremely jacked, it showed the before picture, and then it showed next to it like him now where he's jacked. When I saw that, I was like, dude, some don't seem right here.
All right, so we're calling Michael.
Hello.
Hey, is this Mike Jackson?
Is who?
Is this Mike Jackson?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up, man? It's Adam Hunter for MMA Roasted. How are you, buddy?
I'm well, what's going on?
You sound sad. Are you okay?
Nah, I'm cool, man. I'm chilling.
Congrats on your win over CM Punk, Phil Brooks.
I appreciate it.
Did that fight go exactly how you thought it was going to go?
I mean, initially I went out, I wanted the first round knockout. It didn't come as I thought it would. So after that, it was just like, man, let's just go out here and have fun. Let's beat the guy up, I told you from the beginning that it was one of those things where I didn't want to hurt him. I just wanted to beat him up just enough where he understood that, there was levels to it and, really make him not want to do this no more. And I felt I accomplished that.
I think you definitely accomplished that, but do you think that people got upset with you for not trying to finish the fight? It seemed like people did get upset with you.
I mean, they did get upset. I don't even get that. Like, why? Are you there to watch it? Like, if I didn't finish it, then I didn't finish it. But if you didn't like the fight, that's cool. But, don't be upset that, I didn't finish the fight. Just be upset you didn't like the fight. But people like just being upset about shit.
All that, but I think also people looked at it as which is weird because if it was somebody else doing it, if it was another fight doing that, when it was Sean Shirk at BJ Penn or something, when it seemed like BJ was just fucking with Sean Shirk at one point, people didn't get upset.
Well,
but
see, that wasn't even the thing. People thought I was showboating and taunting, and that wasn't it at all. I wasn't doing any of that. I guess and I asked a reporter. While we were in the back and post-fight, and I asked him, I said, hey, what were your thoughts on it? Because they asked me what I was doing. I told them. And then he said in the moment, it did look like I was showboating. And then he goes back and he watches it again, but he watches it from the perspective that I gave him. And he was like, okay, well, I get what you were saying now. So I think it was just one of those things where from the outside, if you didn't really know, the details of the fight, where I was looking and, the whole thing about I know Dana said the bolo punches. If you didn't know what I was doing, then it may look like that. But for me, for what I was doing, that wasn't it either. I mean, that wasn't it at all.
it did kind of look like a big brother beating up a little brother. like at one point I thought you were gonna give him a noogie. You know, it did look like you were just like, hey, I'm just gonna fuck with you. And I think that's. But the first round was close. He kind of won the first round, maybe, right?
I disagree 100%.
It was close.
He got a takedown. I got back up.
But it was closer than I thought it was gonna be. It was close, right? I mean, did you expect him to be able to take your punches?
I mean, but I wasn't throwing them like 100. Like, I mean, all of my I don't put everything on all my punches, but I mean, I did realize like I touched that first Chris jab that landed. His eyes lit up, like he was like, all right, like this dude can hit. But I don't go out like I know a lot of dudes come out swinging hard, putting everything in all their shots. Like that's not my style. You know, people like because I mean, if you look at me, I have like this real like laid back kind of like vibe to me, and even some people is like I call it the resting bitch face I have out there, and people got like upset at that. They was like, look at him, he looks like he's bored. And like they was mad. I was like, you mad because I look
all right,
bored?
all right. Here's my theory. Okay, you went out, got a bunch of investors. You said, give me $1 million and I'll take the fight the distance, right? And then we'll all split it.
I didn't even know the odds. I wish I'd have done that, but no, I didn't do that at all.
That's not what happened?
Some good odds, though.
Because it seemed like
on decision, you got some good money.
Other people were saying that like maybe people were telling you to take a dive, and then you were like, "Fuck it," like in Pulp Fiction or something.
Man, the internet is wild, man. Nah, it was none of that. I did see some of those though.
Now, why didn't you call out the Honky Tonk Man afterwards, or like B. Brian Blair, or one of those guys?
Why did I do what?
How come you didn't call out Coco Beware after the fight, or some other wrestlers?
Is he alive?
I don't know. Is he alive? That was the last time I watched wrestling. Jake the Snake. You think he's alive? Jake the Snake Roberts?
Nah, but fucking whatchamacallit, Daniel Bryan like called me out, or I don't know if he called me out, but he said like he could beat me in a UFC fight on the ground, and I was just like,
isn't he in Bellator? Isn't he in Bellator, Daniel Bryan?
Huh?
Who's the guy that Bellator signed? A heavyweight, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought you were gonna call out 50 Cent. Remember, you said you were gonna do that.
I forgot about that. Man, I mean, I don't even know what he's doing. I think that was a money play anyway. What he's doing over there? He just likes the attention, so I'm letting him do his thing over there. I'm not tripping.
Now, Dana said you're cut. Are you officially cut or no?
I mean, he said I was cut. I guess I don't know.
Fuck, but you won. You won the fight.
I know. I mean, like I said, I understand what Dana, again, I get it, like, if you, on the outside looking in from, in the moment, sure, I can see where you may feel I was showboating, but, you know, if you go back and look at it from my perspective, you would know the difference. And then another thing is Dana's emotional, so, you know, he was in the moment, and that's how he felt, so he just said what he said, but I think if we sit down and talk about it, he would understand where I'm coming from.
But was it a case of like you're so much better than CM Punk, it was hard to look good against him?
No, I mean it was just you're right, I was. But if I went out there, I would have had to like really hurt him, and it got to the point where I was like, what's the point? You know?
Well, because the point is to hurt the guy. The point is to hurt the guy you're fighting. You're supposed to. I mean, no offense, but like when you were on top of him, if you just would have went ground and pound and started throwing bombs, they would have stopped it, right?
At the time, well, I forgot what round, because the whole fight kind of blurs together for me. What round was
I think
that?
In the second or third round, you had him on mount, and the time when you were throwing bolo punches.
I never mounted him.
Yeah, you were throwing, or maybe you were in his guard, but you were throwing those bolo punches. Yeah, but if you just were raining down fucking punches, don't you think that they would have stopped it?
That's not. I don't fight like that. I don't just do like I like to pick my shots, and that's what I did.
Right.
And when you look at it, I mean, everybody has their own interpretation of fighting. Everybody do their own thing, and that was just what I was doing. You know, I get people don't like it, and I mean that's cool. Like that's their opinion.
No, but you listen. You went in there. You won 30-26, 30-27. You did your job. You got paid. You made the UFC. You had everything to lose, nothing to gain. But now you won. You won, and people are giving you a hard time, which is kind of bullshit because you did your job. So,
I mean, like I said, people just like being offended by shit. Like They like, again, if I knock him out, then they would be mad that, yeah, well, you were supposed to knock him out. I didn't knock him out, then they mad I did knock him out.
Nobody would get mad if you knocked him out. Honestly, if you would have knocked him out,
well, not okay. Let me rephrase. I shouldn't say mad, but people would have been complaining. Let me say it like that. They're gonna complain either way. I shouldn't say mad. They'll complain.
Did you get laid afterwards? At least.
Nah, I didn't. I did get laid with some pizza though. It was all about that. I was looking for that Chicago deep dish.
Come on, look, you're a good-looking guy. There were no horny Chicago chicks that were like, you know, they hated CM Punk. That wanted to, you know.
Hey, none of them came my way. I wish they came my way, but they didn't.
Damn.
I know Chicago has some beautiful women out there too.
Oh yeah.
I was digging the Chicago chicks. Yeah, they look nice out there.
So what's next for Mike the Truth Jackson?
I don't know, man. We just have to play it by ear. You know, I'm back on the Truth Food Tour. You know, I'll be in Lake Charles, Louisiana this weekend. A couple weeks from now, I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee. So be on that right now.
Wait, doing what? What are you doing at these places?
So I work for a grappling promotion called Submission Hunter Pro. We do these grappling super fights. It's one of the top little promotions in the country. And we just travel around doing super fights. And I just go, do the production, take pictures, and eat.
Nice. All right. Well, listen, Mike, I'm a fan, okay? I'm a fan. I understand why people got upset, but you know what? They're not in there.
They're not.
You're the one in there.
It's like they're not in there. So.
You're the one in there, okay? You beat CM Punk. I honestly think you should have called out, who's that guy, that big fat guy? Rikishi. You should have called out Rikishi afterwards. He might have trouble making weight, but why not, right?
I don't think he's alive either.
So now, when you say you're a photographer, are you now? Yeah. Now, Tanya Ebinger came to my show with this hot ass chick that she's dating. Girl was a 10.
She's bad.
You came over to her. You're like, I want to shoot you. Like, what's going on here? What kind of photographer are you? Tell us the truth, Michael Jackson.
I just shoot beautiful things, whether it be women, whether it be fights, whether it be food. I just like taking pictures.
Oh, good. All right. So you're more like a stalker or like a real photographer?
No, I get paid.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a stalker.
I'm fucking with you.
I don't have to stalk.
I know. Listen, I was happy for you, man. I gotta say, I was a little worried in the first round. I'm like, no, please don't let this guy lose. But then what
were you worried about?
I was worried that you're a real fighter and that CM Punk was somehow gonna win for some reason. And
why? But okay. So let me ask you, why did you think, like, knowing my background in striking and knowing even the amateur MMA background and knowing he had zero combat sport experience, what made you think he had a
because
shot?
You punched him and he didn't move, and I was like, fuck. Like, are you kidding?
He didn't. I remember that too. He didn't move. He stood there for a second.
And I was like, is he walking through? And then he got a takedown on you, and I was like, no. But then everything in the second and third round, we saw the difference in levels. But you did worry me, man. I'm not gonna lie. I got nervous in that first round. I got nervous.
Now I'm gonna have to go back because I hadn't watched the fight again.
He easily won 10-7 in the first round. But you came back in the second and third, so that was good.
All right, I'm gonna go check it out and I'm gonna score myself then.
All right, thanks, Mike. Thanks for being on the podcast.
All right, man.
Appreciate
it, my guy.
Bye. All right.
He's been in the Dime before?
No. He came to my show in Houston. That was Mike the Truth Jackson.
I like Mike.
Yeah, right?
It's unfortunate that he's going to get cut, maybe. I like him. I mean, I don't know how far his career in the UFC would go, but he's a good dude.
Yeah. I mean, he did look like he was fucking around with him too much, but I guess he was trying to prove to him he didn't belong in the UFC, but he could have proved that by just stopping, by knocking him out, no? Like, wouldn't that have been more effective?
That would have been.
Or just submitting him?
But then again, this is exactly what I wanted. Like a couple weeks ago, I said, I hope this fight goes 3 rounds. So I want to see the talent of CM Punk or whatever he's learned so far in his 3 years of training. I want to see what he's going to put out there, instead of him getting knocked out in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Which also would have been funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was like CM Punk went from like everybody like, it's a weird emotion. People were like, fuck this guy, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't belong here. Other people were like, yeah, he's gonna kick ass. He's a wrestler and he's awesome. And then it turned into like, oh, he's a nice guy and he's humble and you liked him. And then it became sad of like, this poor guy is getting the shit beaten out of him. And it almost became this guy's delusional of like that guy who, you know, who's like, I must, almost like Reggie Jackson of like, I must kill the queen and Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Or something where
I must kill the
you ever
queen.
meet somebody that just like, you as a comic, you meet like a 60-year-old comic.
Or
and
the
they're-
comics that they just get up there and they don't realize how bad they are and they keep doing it.
every
They
week at the open mic.
Yeah, and they gotta go up,
They're at
they
the open
gotta
mic
keep
and they're like
going up.
70 years old and they're like,
It's
they have
just like-
4 minutes of jokes
you're like-
and they're just, one's bad.
someone needs to tell you to just stop. Like,
Yeah.
no, like
And that's kind of what I felt like it became sad.
Well, you feel bad for him, and then you find out he made $1.5 million.
But he doesn't
Yeah.
need it though.
You know,
I don't think he needs.
you
You know how much
don't
money he
really
made in
feel
wrestling?
that bad after that.
he could probably make $50,000 an appearance if he wanted to. If he wanted to just go to these wrestle cons or these conventions and charge money for pictures, he could walk away with $40,000 a weekend, which would be a lot safer than this. I mean, when you see a guy just get, and you see a guy like he tried so hard and just got beat up by a guy who people were upset because he was clowning around. At the same time, like, I don't know, Mike Jackson just, he did his job, he won. It's weird that he got cut after winning, though.
Yeah.
I mean, how bad do you have to lose winning a fight? Do you have to look winning a fight to get cut afterwards?
And that's such a strange reason to get cut because he was fooling around in there. I mean, look at what's the dude Michael Venom Page? That's what he does too.
Yeah,
basically.
but I really was going to compare. But I hear
So-
you though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
and
the
if this
showboating.
other guy that you trying to call, if he achieves his goal to actually teabag a guy, he would have got cut too, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah. If he would have
He
teabagged,
might have
teabagged
gone to
someone?
jail,
I don't
dude.
think that was.
You think he'd go to jail for teabagging?
Yeah, that's like sexual assault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Certain things you can't do even when you win, I guess.
I don't think he was really gonna. That was his real goal, though. I think he
No.
was just being funny. I don't think his real goal was to teabag him.
You don't think
But-
given the opportunity he would have done it?
I don't know. I mean, if he did, he'd have to be one of those things where he like takes a picture and like does a selfie. But like, I don't think teabagging someone. Would his mouth have to be open and his balls in the mouth?
Yeah, that's
He could have
teabagging.
just mimed it. You know what I mean? It
I
could have
don't
been like
know.
his own little like NFL end zone dance.
There was a kid in my high school. They got in trouble because I went to Hyde, like this boarding school, where these guys would go in the dorm. They'd be like, "I bet you can't do an atomic sit-up," and they're like, "Yeah, I can." They're like, "No, you can't." So they would lie the kid down and put a towel over his head, right? And be like, "All right, you have to be able to break this towel." And then another guy would step over him, drop his pants, and the guy would do a sit-up right into the guy's asshole, right? And then of course the kid like ran away when that happened. He ran away from the boarding school. He was like, "I'm out of here." I don't blame him. You go to a school.
I would have
that's-
ran too.
Yeah. So then the other two kids had to go to the dean and demonstrate what an atomic setup was.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did he laugh?
No.
The dean, the dean was into it. You know how those boarding school deans are.
There was another kid
They
where
love
like
those boys.
there was a whole thing called hanging the brain, where like you,
Oh my
you
God.
take your
Yeah.
balls, you put it out of your pants, and like you look and then you squeeze them and they look like brains. And that's what. And then so kids would go around high school all the time, be like, "Hey, just hang the brain," like that was their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then one kid stood up at a school meeting, and goes, "There's no hanging the brain at school meetings." While doing it, and he got fucking, he got
Guy's a
kicked out.
legend, dude.
Yeah.
That guy's great. He went and started Amazon. It's the kind of balls he's got.
We've seen the balls that he's got.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna call Dana White. So we are calling Dana White right now.
Hello.
Dana, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good. So we got Dana White on the podcast, the UFC president. First of all, thanks for doing my podcast, and thank you for the countless hours of entertainment you have helped provide. I don't even know what my life was like.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no worries, man. It's awesome. I don't even remember my life before the UFC. That's how much I just love watching MMA. It's a different...
Hey, me neither.
It's-
Me neither.
So how has life changed? Like, because I remember before the WME merger, you know, it was you and the Fertitta brothers, and you kind of had like this like triangle of ideas, and then they went on somewhere else. WME came in. How has life gotten much harder since then on you? More pressure?
No, it's been great, man. I mean, Ari Emanuel and I have been friends for a long time, like 10 years. Yeah, we work well together, man. Obviously, if you look at what's going on around here, we've been doing pretty good together.
No, yeah, you've been killing it. You've been absolutely killing it. By the way, that fight last week, that main event was insane. I mean, how much heart does Whitaker have?
So good. I mean, these guys are both so tough, and yeah, a great fight.
I mean, so many guys, I think, you get hit by Yoel Romero, and it's over. I mean, but that dude, it looked like he was almost out on his feet, but was just all on instinct, kept going.
It's insane that fight. Andy broke his hand in the third round. Whitaker had a broken hand and, fought the entire fight, the rest of the fight with a broken hand against a beast like Romero. And Romero, too. Romero got hit with some big shots and kept coming forward, and it was a great fight.
Yeah, no.
Those two match up very well.
It was awesome. And then the Colby fight was pretty damn cool, too. Colby Covington versus RDA. I think, he just laid the groundwork on how to beat a guy like RDA, which is just nonstop grinding, nonstop wrestling. Now, I talked to Colby. He says he wants to fight Woodley in MSG in November. Is that what you think's gonna happen?
I have no idea what's gonna happen with that fight yet. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's gonna be awesome because those. I mean, supposedly they trained before, and Colby said he made Woodley quit in practice, and Woodley says that never happened, and it's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good fights. The Stipe Cormier fight is gonna be. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most because I just can't keep. I just keep going back and forth with it.
That whole card is sick. That it's International Fight Week, and the whole card is sick. That's going to be a fun weekend. Fun week.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I got shows all week, by the way, at the Stratosphere. If you want to come, I know you came to my show a couple years ago. It was awesome having you there. So Zuffa Boxing, how far along are we with Zuffa Boxing?
Well, let me say this first. Yeah, it was great going to your show too. You were hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
It that night.
Thank you, brother.
I tell the story all the time where you were telling some kind of raunchy joke or something. You had some raunchy joke, and these two old people that were in there. I don't even know if you remember this, but these two old people get up and start walking out, and he said, "Hey," we just said something like, where you guys going?" The guy yells out, "You suck," and the old guy yells out, "You suck," and you go, "Oh, Mom and Dad, I'll see you guys." It was your timing was incredible. It was fucking hilarious. I think about that all the time. It was so goddamn funny.
It's exactly what happened. And I remember doing comedy with you at the Laugh Factory, and I'd never seen you nervous before, and you were sweating.
No, that wasn't nervous. That was beyond fucking nervous. That was like a next level of nervous. I don't know if I've ever been that nervous in my life.
No, I
literally never want to try that ever again. It was that's some crazy shit, man. Listen, I don't give a shit about getting up and speaking in front of people, but getting up and making people laugh. Lots of different people think different things are funny than other people, and it's a very hard thing to do.
No, because I was trying to console you. Yeah,
fucking brutal.
I was trying to console you. You were like, "Can you give me a minute, please?" I was like, "Holy shit!" Like you were. I've never seen.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody talking to me. I didn't want anybody near me. Normally when we're shooting, looking for a fight, we're having a blast. We're hanging out and whatever. I don't give a shit, man. I was next level. It was the greatest thing when I was done with it and get that off my fucking back, man. But that's what we do. I'm looking for a fight. We do shit that makes us uncomfortable. We do shit that we necessarily wouldn't do, normally.
Well, you did it, and you killed. You had a great set. But I mean, how nervous were you when you had to speak at the Republican National Convention? Was it the same thing?
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. I was hanging out in the back. We had a blast. It was a good time. When it was my turn to speak, went out there, spoke, and then I went home. It was a piece of cake.
Wow.
Doing stand-up comedy is the fucking worst fucking feeling I've ever had in my life. It was brutal.
Wow, that's insane. Because that's crazy to me that you let the RNC. Now, I mean, did you ever think of yourself back in the day though, like when you were 18, 19, working at the gym, that you'd be talking at the Republican National Convention?
No, no, I did not.
I mean that must have been insane. So Zuffa Boxing, there was a rumor going around that you offered not Wilder, Anthony Joshua $500 million to sign with Zuffa
Right.
Boxing. Was that true?
It's not true. Me and Joshua spoke on the phone. We never got together. He never did any of that shit. He's under contract with Eddie Hearn, and his contract was coming up. And I said, listen, I'd like to talk to you guys. And he made it very clear to me that he wasn't going to leave Eddie. He wanted to stay with Eddie. And I said, yeah, well, I'm not looking for you to leave Eddie. I think we can all work together. And, I think we can do a lot for you here in the United States. So I think we get together and figure out how to work as a team. Then, I think Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn hasn't been in the business that long. I think Eddie Hearn was very oversensitive about, the thought that, Anthony Joshua and I would even talk, you know what I mean? And took it very, I don't know, was almost insulted by it, and that really wasn't the conversation we had or the intent.
Okay, so he goes out, or someone goes out and spreads that rumor that it's
whoever started that's absolutely not true. But listen, if you're Anthony Joshua, they know that we have money, they know that what we're capable of doing, and not a bad thing for Anthony Joshua for it to be in all the newspapers and all over the internet that I made a $500 million offer.
Yeah, of course, and like your background also is in boxing, so it's not like you just coming in out of like nowhere. I mean, you started right as a boxing coach. Now, there was another rumor going around this week that you're really trying to make Brock Lesnar versus John Jones happen.
Yeah, that rumor's not true. First of all, yes, I know they both want to fight, and I would make that fight. But first of all, John's still in trouble, and second of all, Brock Lesnar isn't even in these. If you're in the USADA pool, it takes 6 months before you can fight again. So that's a rumor. It's not true.
Okay, got it. Well, I'm happy you're clearing this up. Now, how hard is it for you, Dana? Because I know you're a great promoter, but you're also you're a lot more than that. You're kind of, in a lot of ways, you're kind of a babysitter. And how hard is it for you sometimes to have to take a step back? Like, for example, like with the Conor McGregor bus incident, right? You get into Madison Square Garden, biggest fight ever, everything's gonna happen, and next thing I know, this amazing superstar athlete goes crazy, starts tossing dollies at buses. I mean, what goes through your head when that happens?
Yeah, that was a bad day. That was a very bad day. We have a lot of bad days around here where bad shit happens, but that was right up there with the worst.
Now, do you call Conor and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Or do you have to kind of just let everyone else take it?
Yeah, no. So we, I did the interview with the media. I came back to the arena. I had just left the arena. I was literally half a block down the street when Reed Harris called me, freaking out that Conor was attacking the bus. So, I didn't understand exactly what was going on or what had happened, and I knew it was over. So I went to the hotel and waited for the fighters to come back from the hotel. But they had to stay there because the police were called. So the police were coming. So then I left the hotel and drove back to the arena. And that's when the press was still there, and I talked to the press. And Conor and I didn't talk until, until Conor had gotten out of jail. I think that's the first time we talked.
Now, is it like talking? I mean, is it talking to you like your son, your child? Or you're saying, "Hey, listen, Betty, you got the whole world ahead of you. Come on, man. Like, what are you doing?"
No, I mean, Conor is a guy that I've obviously been behind since day one. He's a kid that I have tremendous respect for as a fighter and as a person. And we've always had this really good working relationship, but for him to come to one of our events at the arena and do what he did was as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I was like, I remember texting you, like, hey, man, sorry you had a bad day. You texted back a gun emoji to, like, your head. Like, fucking,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man. And then I said, like, even John Jones thinks that McGregor needs to put it together. And like, normally I get, like, an LOL from you, and I got nothing. And I'm like, uh-oh. I feel like I'm bombing in my own text messages right now. This is not good. Comedy is tragedy plus time. Let's give this some time. So, yeah. But that's why it's got to be so hard, because MMA is such a... you attract such a great athlete, but you also attract some people that are just out there. And for you to have to kind of rein them all in, that's got to be brutal. It's got to be brutal.
Yeah, no, it's we got a lot of people under contract here, over 500 fighters under contract, and that doesn't include all the employees I have here, you know? So things are always happening. Somebody, you know, has personal problems or something, you know, every day we deal with this stuff from, you know, on both sides, fighters and employees.
Is it ever tempting to just buy an island and be like, you know what? I got the money. I can go get an island, live there, happily ever after, and just, is that ever a temptation you have?
No, never. Retirement doesn't even, not even close. I love this. You know, this is what I do, man. And if I do go on vacation, after like 4 days, I'm chomping at the bit to get back to work. So yeah, no, I'm good.
Did you watch the bare knuckle boxing event that went on in Wyoming?
I did not. Was it good?
It was brutal. It was good, but Rowdy Beck kicked some ass. She did really good, and then
who did?
Rowdy Beck. Rowdy Beck did really good. I think she found her calling in life. It's brutal.
Really?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, they have bare knuckles, and Joey Beltran fought. That was a really good fight against Tony Diaz. I think they're onto something. It's only legal in Wyoming, but it's very entertaining, and a lot of MMA guys are going over to it. So
interesting.
I don't know. It's definitely insane. Now I got to ask you, Ben Askren, right? I'm obviously a big wrestling fan. I'm a huge fan of Ben Askren, 17-0, two-time national champion. He says he went over to you guys. You said win some fights in the WSOF, and then we'll put you in like the UFC. Is that what happened?
I don't even remember. To be honest with you, I don't even remember.
But now, is that a guy though? Is that a guy that you would still allow to come back and compete in the UFC?
He's under contract. He's under contract with ONE FC. He can't go anywhere and do anything.
Right. Because there's a guy that I would love to see how he would match up against some of the best 170 pounders. You know?
Yeah. Because definitely. But he can't. He's under contract with those guys. So.
Because he's such a good wrestler, but yeah, that makes sense. Now, Khabib versus Conor in Russia, is that what? Are we close?
No, that's not happening in Russia.
Why not?
Yeah, that's not happening in Russia. Because that's going to happen in Las Vegas.
That would be awesome. That's the fight that I can't wait to see. It's a tough fight because if it goes past 3 rounds, I got to give it to Khabib. But Conor has that.
Are you going to fly to Russia to see that fight and buy a ticket?
100. If you get me front row tickets, it'll be me and Yakov Smirnov. I will 100% go to Russia. Are you absolutely? Are you crazy? 100%. There's so many fights I want to see. Nate Diaz. I mean, personally, here's my dream. I want Nate Diaz to come back. He's one of my favorites. I don't know why he's not still fighting. I mean, that's obviously all on Nate Diaz. I can't wait to see obviously Woodley versus Colby, and I want to see what happens with Stipe. But you're right. That whole card, top to bottom, of UFC 226 is insane. It's absolutely insane.
Who do you want to see Nate Diaz fight?
Who do I want to see? I want to see Nate Diaz fight at Ben Askren, if you can get him on. Nate Diaz? I want to see him fight Kevin Lee.
Where,
Nate,
where are you going to fly to see that one? Fantasy Island?
Exactly. Fantasy Island. Me and Nick the Tooth, and I want to see Nate Diaz. I want to see Nate Diaz fight Kevin Lee. I think that would be a good fight.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
agree with you.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree with you on the 7th too. You got Miocic Cormier, you got Holloway Ortega, Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
Chiesa versus Pettis, the fight that was supposed to happen in New York. Saki versus Roundtree, which would be a fucking insane. And we call this kid Baby Vitor, but Costa versus Uriah Hall.
Oh yeah.
Yancy Medeiros versus Mike Perry.
Oh, that's gonna be insane. I love Yancy. He's such a nice guy, but he doesn't necessarily.
We got Asunciao versus Font.
Yep. Also a great fight. Now, what do you think about De La Hoya signing Chuck to fight Tito?
Yeah. Hey, those guys want to fight. Listen, I pray that Chuck doesn't fight again. I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, listen, if they, whoever he signs with, if those guys fight, I just hope that Chuck makes a shitload of money, man. I just hope he never fights again, man. And I would hope that the people close to him would think like I do too.
I mean, you were his first manager, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if I was his first manager, but I was his manager.
Now, Phil Baroni keeps telling us that he knocked down Chuck in sparring, and you were there.
That's not true. He didn't knock Chuck down. He didn't knock Chuck down. Phil sparred with Chuck. It's on the internet.
Yeah.
You can go on the internet and watch it.
But he says but Phil says that he should sign with Zuffa Boxing. You guys would give him a chance, right, Baroni?
Baroni?
Yeah.
Listen, I have a long history and a relationship with Baroni, and you know, as crazy as Baroni is, you know what I mean? What a madman he is. I've actually had a good working relationship with Phil. We've had a couple of moments, but other than that, but I think Phil is somebody who should retire too.
Yeah. No, he fought 2 weeks ago. He won in 10 seconds in King of the Cage.
Did he really?
Yeah, he fought King.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in San Diego, he won in 10 seconds in King of the Cage.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe Phil should be fighting.
Now, who's the guy that you'd like that surprised you? A guy that you were like, man, I don't really see it. And then 3 years later, the guy was a world beater. Who was one of your biggest surprises?
One of my biggest surprises. I don't know if there's ever really been a big surprise. I mean, if there was a guy that we saw that looked talented, and they made it all the way, we kind of expected it. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody who blew me away, and I was like, oh wow, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I mean, a guy like Clay Guida or something, who you're like, oh, okay, he's good, but then all of a sudden he just achieves, he like beats guys that you didn't think he was going to beat on paper. One of the funniest.
That happens all the time. I mean, there's guys that fight that you think will never be beaten. They end up getting beat. It's just when you've been in this sport long enough that there's no surprises. I mean, anything is possible in this sport.
Yeah, that's what makes such a great sport. One of my favorite stories you told me, we can edit this out, by the way, if you want to tell us, was when you went to court because two guys masturbated on The Ultimate Fighter and like someone's sushi, and then you had to tell the judge.
Yeah.
You had to tell the judge that it wasn't real jizz or something.
No, it wasn't in court. We had to go before the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
But what?
I don't think we went in there and said it wasn't real. We just went in there and took our whooping and said it would never happen again.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you guys were saying that it was like, it was actually glue or something, or it wasn't actually. No.
No, I don't think it was glue.
Got it. Now, have you thought about producing comedy specials? And if so, can you produce mine and it will air it on Fight Pass? Has that ever?
Yeah, we did one of Joe Rogan's specials.
Oh, nice.
Might have done a couple of Joe Rogan specials. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we produced comedy before.
Well, let's do it. I'm in.
What's the submission process?
You ready?
I'm ready. I've been doing this 21 fucking years. Yes, of course I'm ready. Come on, man. Put me in. I'm totally ready. You produce it. Let's do it. It'll be Dana White produces the Adam Hunter comedy special. I'm in. Are you in?
We'll talk about it.
Oh, that
I'm in.
would be
We'll talk
amazing.
about
Also, I got a baby coming in 5 weeks. I got a baby girl coming. Any advice on parenting?
Yeah, well, my advice is you better start pumping out comedy specials quick. Babies aren't cheap.
That's true. How many kids do you have?
I have 3. I have 2 boys and a girl.
All right, so being a parent to a girl, help me. What are things I should look out for? Give me some good advice.
No, it's the best. So in the beginning, they're all about mommy, 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 and you know, you feel like the outsider. But then as they get older, it turns into it's all about daddy, and it's the fucking best. And it just gets better and better every year.
Nice. How old are your kids now?
So my oldest son just turned 17. We just had his birthday last weekend. My younger son turned 16 in July, and my daughter is 12.
Wow. Now, how do they deal with you traveling all the time?
They're used to it. It's been that way their whole life. They're totally used to it. They're used to the whole lifestyle. My kids have really, really adapted well to my life and, you know, all that stuff. They're very, very cool.
Well, didn't like one time they wanted to have like a white Christmas, so you had snow flown in from like Alaska or something?
No, they didn't want to have a white Christmas. They you know, they didn't get to, I grew up back in Boston when I was younger, and they you know, you got to experience snow and sledding and all that shit. So yeah, I had snow brought in and built a huge mound that they could sled on. I do all kinds of crazy shits for my kids. You see the fucking birthday parties I've been throwing for my kids since they were babies, and the fucking birthday parties, you know, trips we take them on, you know, cool things that they get to do, always.
Yeah, no, one of the coolest things also, I went to high school in Maine. I went to a boarding school called the Hyde School in Bath, Maine. You're from Maine, and you told me that you grew up pretty poor, so when you got rich, you actually bought the whole block for your family?
No. So my grandparents lived up there, and I got a bunch of cousins and stuff. And my grandmother lived in a trailer on a piece of property that she paid rent on. And I bought the whole street. I didn't buy the block. I bought the whole street, literally the whole street.
They must have loved it. I mean, they must have been in heaven.
Yeah, it's where we go all the time. And I built this crazy, you know, fun place with all the toys up there. And we go there you know, as much as we can until it snows. I don't go near that place when it snows, but until it snows, we go up there. I'm going there for the 4th of July again, and I was just there a few weeks ago, and I'll go as many times as I can this summer.
That's awesome. And I gotta ask you. So I was a big Kevin Randleman fan. I'm a big Jens Pulver fan. I think both those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. No?
No, I agree. Yeah, they should, and they will be someday.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Good. Yeah, those guys are. You know, my favorite people to interview are always the old timers. Like we had Don Frye on earlier, and just
he's awesome.
Those guys are my favorite because those guys fought just for honor. You know, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the sex or this or that. It was just because they were tough and they wanted to prove it. And those are always my favorite guys. I had Mark Kerr on the podcast recently, and that was pretty awesome too.
They had to fight friggin' 10 times a night to win $50,000.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is Gary Goodridge told me he went to Brazil. They told him no rules. You go to a fight, no rules. And then he gets there. They're like, there's a couple rules. He was really angry about that. So during the fight, he removed the guy's cup, grabbed his balls, and squeezed as hard as he could, and the guy tapped. And he's like, and then everyone got really mad at him, started throwing shit at him. But he's like, you said no rules. Like, those are
that's crazy.
Some of the craziest stories I've ever. And then Henzo.
Hey, you really gotta want to win to grab another guy's ball.
Fuck. Hell, no rules is no rules. Fucking, and then
I'm
Henzo.
always looking for guys with that killer instinct, man. He's got it.
Yeah, and then Henzo Gracie is another guy who told me he was one time in a fight, and it was in Brazil, and his back was against the cage, and he got stabbed during the fight from somebody that came, and he continued to fight and won the fight after getting stabbed in the middle of a fight. I mean, those guys.
That's fucking crazy. Now, listen, man. I'm telling you right now. I've spent some time with him, and in Abu Dhabi, you know, Sheikh Mohammed and Sheikh Taknoon were investors in the UFC, and me and Lorenzo would go out there, and Frank, and spend time with these guys. The best, incredible guys. These guys, spend time with them, and they always have their friends around, and he is very, very good friends with Henzo Gracie. Very good friends. So pretty much every time I went out there, Henzo would be there. And the stories that Taknoon would tell about Henzo too. Some crazy horse race. Ask him about the horse race that Taknoon got him in Abu Dhabi. It's crazy. But basically, you know, Sheikh Taknoon was telling me that he's one of the toughest guys he's ever met in his life.
No, weren't you worried that one time in UFC Abu Dhabi when it was Anderson Silva versus Maia, I think the main event, right? And everyone was booing. Were you guys worried for your lives? Like this is going to be really bad?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that over there. That's all American bullshit. It's awesome over there.
Now,
I mean, you ask Henzo Gracie, that guy's over there every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't over there because it sucks. He's over there because it's awesome.
He was telling me that. Yeah.
The way those people treat you when you're over there is phenomenal.
He was telling me he was at a concert with his daughter, and some guy kept trying to buy beers for his daughter, who was like 15, and he was like, "Leave me alone." The guy's like, "Shut up, old man." So he waited for the guy in the bathroom at the concert, choked him out, and put his head in the toilet. So.
Yeah, no, he don't play, man. He's you know, he's getting older now, but when he was young, he was a wild man.
Well, when was the last time you got into an actual fight?
Oh, Jesus. I think the last time it didn't get into an actual fist fight, but my last altercation was at the Wiggles.
The concert? The Wiggles concert?
Yeah, the Wiggles concert with my kids. Yeah. When they were little. I think that's the last time that I actually.
Wait, we have to go back a little bit. Why did you get into a fight at the Wiggles concert?
Because so me and my wife and my kids were in the second row, and some assholes in the first row, right? So at the Wiggles, when they start singing, all the kids go up in front of the stage, and they can, you know, stand the stage. They're all dancing and jumping around and shit. So my kids are up there. So my wife, who is Italian and fucking crazy about the kids, they can't go 2 feet by themselves. She goes up and she's sitting there. But there were other parents up in the front too. And this guy, I'm sitting there in my seats and I'm looking, I'm like, is that fucking guy yelling at my wife? I think that guy is yelling at my wife. So I walk over there and I go, what's going on? And my wife says, he's saying, go sit in your seats. Like we're in the fucking 8th row. He fuckface. We're in the second row. We're right behind you. You know what I mean? So then I get fucking pissed and I start getting into it with this guy. And guess what this guy does?
What?
What do you think this guy does? I start getting aggressive with him.
Works for Bellator? No, I
runs and gets security.
Ah, come on. Really?
So wait a minute. You were just here getting in my wife's face like a fucking tough guy.
Yeah.
I come walking over here and you fucking run to security?
Ah.
Yeah. That's the last real, holy shit, my husband's going to get in a fight incident that I had. Man, I'm 48 years old. I fight to get on a treadmill. I ain't looking to fight anybody.
Yeah, but don't you have a boxing guy every day at noon that coaches you guys?
Yeah, we work out. I just when we built this new building, I built a gym here. Yeah, I got a badass little gym here. I work out every day. My friends come in, we work out together, and yeah, it's awesome.
But when you were going to fight Tito Ortiz, you actually weighed in, right? I mean, you were ready to fight him.
Yeah, we were going to fight, yeah.
That would have been awesome.
He's the one that did it. He put it in the contract. He said when he signed the new contract, him and Lorenzo did the deal because he and I couldn't even be in the same room together. So him and Lorenzo did the deal, and Lorenzo called me and said he wants to put in the contract that he'll sign it if if you'll box him in a 3-round boxing match. I go, fuck yes, done. Sign it.
And then I think Jenna told him this is probably not a good idea, right? You have nothing to win out of this.
I don't know who told him. Listen, they were calling and they said, and they were talking to Craig Borsari.
Yes.
The head of production here said, we want to go. It's like Craig was my manager. He says, we want to go no headgear. I said, no problem, no headgear. We want to use 8-ounce gloves. No problem, we can use 8-ounce gloves. They kept throwing all these things at me like I was going to say no or something or say it's not happening. I agreed to everything they wanted.
Wow.
And then we did the whole thing with Spike leading up to the fight. And then 4 days before it was supposed to happen, Tito called and left a voicemail on my phone and said, I'm going to let you off the hook on this.
Oh, come on. That's
how it went down.
Wow. And you were sparring with real heavyweight fighters, right? Like ranked guys.
Oh, I like the number 12 guy in the world in here sparring with me.
And how were you doing against him?
I was sparring. Listen to me. When that happened, I was 37 years old. 37. I got these 24 and 25-year-old bad motherfuckers coming every day and just beating the shit out of me. We were sparring every day. I got in the fucking best shape I've been in ever for that thing. And I remember every day sparring was at 4 o'clock. And I'd be in my office and I'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking 2 o'clock. Those guys are going to be here in 2 hours. Oh my God, they're going to be here in 30 minutes. And then I'd go down and spar with these guys.
That sucks because you got beat up for no reason for months.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
Now CM Punk, are we going to give him a third chance? What do you think?
No.
Yeah. I know.
I don't think he really wants a third chance. Hopefully after this last fight, the guy he's got balls, man, and he's got guts, and he went on the world stage and he gave it 2 shots, man. A lot of people want to talk shit about CM Punk. Get in there.
Yeah.
Come on over. Fight one of these guys. It's easy to sit in your fucking living room and talk shit. Come in here. This guy actually was a huge star at WWE, came over here and put it all on the line twice, man, in front of the whole world. Now, if people can't respect that, then you're a fucking idiot anyway.
No, nothing but respect for him. It did get kind of sad though at a certain point where you're like, man, why are you doing this? After maybe someone should have told him that was training with him, hey man, we're not ready.
You can't tell somebody though. You can't tell somebody don't do the thing that you want to do the most. That CM Punk wanted to be a UFC fighter. He wanted to come and he wanted to fight here. He wanted it so bad that he fucking dropped everything and focused on nothing but mixed martial arts. Did these if you talk to his team, next time you talk to Duke Rufus or Pettis or any of those guys, and talk about how this guy was driving back and forth from Chicago to their place and would drive for hours to come out and train, would train forever and would be they all ended up respecting him,
No, 100%.
And the guy went in there and put it all on the line.
100%. But I did text one of his coaches the first fight, right, the night before, and I said, how's he going to do tomorrow? And they wrote back, not good. So, right. I mean, but at the same time, you're right. You don't know much about Mike Jackson is 0-1. You're not putting him up against Diego Sanchez or some world beater. You're putting him up against a guy who's...
Tell me one guy who can walk into the UFC at 38 years old and compete after he's been training for fucking months.
Nobody. I mean, unless you're a very elite level wrestler, elite level boxer, elite level kickboxer, maybe. I mean, you're right. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
But
I'm saying he wasn't just any of those things. He was just a regular guy.
Well, he was also a
regular guy.
WWE guy. I mean, those. Yeah, but WWE guys are very athletic, right? I mean, for the most part.
They're athletic, but it ain't the same thing.
No.
And the only reason that Brock Lesnar did as well as he did because he was a real wrestler. The guy actually came from collegiate wrestling, and he was one of the best.
Now, the whole thing with John Jones, I want to believe him because he's so good to the point where he was beating everybody off stuff. Why would he need to take stuff? He was kicking everyone's butt before, It wasn't like he was losing and then started taking steroids and then beating everybody. He was beating everyone off shit. So I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But then to fail something twice, that's got to drive you crazy.
The whole John Jones thing drives me crazy. I mean, honestly, John Jones, the greatest of all time, the greatest to ever do it. And the thing that's really frustrating is imagine if this guy tried. Imagine if he tried even a little bit. How incredibly amazing this guy could have been. I mean, it's just he could have been the biggest star ever. God knows what he would have, finished accomplishing in the light heavyweight. Then in the heavyweight division, maybe he'd have, had a title defense at heavyweight that would never be broken. And the endorsements and the fucking, everything that guy could have been is unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what advice would you give to some of these guys? Like, say a guy like Colby Covington was really not making that much noise. He was winning. He was a good fighter. Then he takes this whole kind of Republican Trump, angle, and it starts going, I'm going to the White House. People start to hate him and he becomes a villain, but at least they're talking about him. Now, is that something that you would endorse, or do you think that that's sort of playing a WWE character, or are you like, hey, at least people are talking about you? What's your thought on that?
I don't endorse anything. I don't ever tell guys how to act or what to say or any of that stuff. It's, you are who you are. Some guys, you have a guy like, I don't know, a good example, I guess, would be, let me think.
Like a Rick Story or something? Stephen Thompson, okay.
Wonder Boy Thompson doesn't talk trash about anybody. He goes in, he's a good-looking kid, clean cut, and does his thing. Then you got guys that are like Conor McGregor, that are loud and get in your face and all this stuff. Whoever you are, you are. And it's my job to promote you. I don't tell anybody to do anything. And I would never suggest to somebody they be somebody that they're not. To go out and to be Colby Covington, you really got to be a little bit of that. You know what I mean? It takes a certain type of person that doesn't give a shit if he goes out and gets booed everywhere he goes. You actually create the boos. You make it happen when you walk out.
Do you ever tell guys to tone it down?
He went to Chicago and got on the mic and said, "Chicago sucks. Your pizza sucks. All this stuff about Chicago sucks." And of course, when you got a whole the whole arena in Chicago chanting Colby sucks during the fight, No,
but do you ever tell guys
being a bad guy?
Do you ever tell guys to calm down at all with that, or no?
No, not unless you like a
Miguel
throwing dollies through bus windows or something. Unless you start doing something, outrageous. No, we don't. Or, if it starts to get physical in any way and things like that, that's shit we don't like. Because the athletic commission can come in and make life very, very difficult for everybody.
Right. Now, where do you see the UFC in 5 years from now?
We're going into all these different countries and that we've never been, going into new states that we've never been. I'm going to continue this movement to grow the sport, throughout the world. And wait till you see. In 5 years, we'll be done with our ESPN deal, and you can imagine how big UFC will be in 5 years.
I can't wait. I'm telling you, I still coach middle school wrestling. I've been doing it 12 years, and I see it firsthand how that has grown. We used to get 10 kids, 15 kids. Now we got 40 kids, 45 kids, and it's all because of MMA and the UFC. They all look up to it. Like when I wrestled in college, I didn't see anywhere to go. I'm not going to make the Olympics. What am I doing? Now you got all these college wrestlers coming out and becoming mixed martial arts stars, and it's great. You've developed a professional league for people, and when women. I got all these girl wrestlers too. They look at I want to be next Ronda Rousey, or they want to be the next Holly Holm, or they want to be the next Rose Namajunas. It's amazing. It's really, really cool, man.
It's true. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you for doing the podcast. Hopefully, I'll see you first week of July.
Awesome, buddy.
UFC
Congrats
fight.
on your baby and everything else, and I'll see you soon.
Dana, thank you, man. Take care.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Dana White,
Nice. The president of the UFC.
president of the UFC.
Wow.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It was cool how long he stayed on for, man.
Yeah.
It was like 45 minutes.
Full
or so.
40 minutes. Yeah.
So cool.
I was even nervous, like when he picked up the phone. I was like even nervous just you being on the phone with him. I don't know what it is because you gotta respect that dude, his power and what he's done with the sport that we care so much about.
What did you guys think of the interview?
It was great. Fantastic. I learned a lot
Yeah.
because I don't know much. So I learned a lot.
So-
It's funny that he thought you were the White House calling. Did we record that earlier? I thought it was the White House.
All right. So, Joe, what do you got coming up?
You can go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Weendawg, and you can go listen to Weendawg Radio, my podcast. Got some cool stuff coming up, so go check it out.
What do you got coming up?
I got shows. You can find all my shows being promoted on my Instagram. My personal Instagram is @FunnyJones. You can follow my podcast, Weird AF News. It's weird as fuck news if you're into that weird shit on any of your podcast apps or whatever.
All right. This Friday night, I'm at the Tilted Kilt in Temecula doing comedy with Sam Alvey. And Jeremy Piven's going to be there. Huntington Beach on Sunday at the Rec Room. This Saturday, I'm at the M Resort in Las Vegas. Next Friday night, I'm at the Hollywood Laugh Factory, the 22nd. I'll be in Edmonton, Alberta, Wednesday, the 27th, at the Comic Strip to the January 1st. And then July 2nd to the 9th, I'm in Las Vegas at the Stratosphere Hotel. Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Thank you, Don Frye. Thank you, Dana White. Thank you, Weendawg. Thank you, CB. Thank you, Jonesy. Thank you, Mike Jackson, as well. You guys are the best. Take care.
Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан. Даалж дуулан дур булаа мууруулаа.